Struggling to get your business online? At Domains2U, we make it easy with fast domain registration, powerful web hosting, and top-tier security solutions. Our hosting solutions ensure speed, security, and reliability with 99.9% uptime and daily backups. Find the perfect domain name and get online in minutes. Get started today at domains2u.com.au.
Good evening, race fans. Welcome back. This is round 6 of the Domains2U GT3 Championship, proudly brought to you by MC Motorsport and presented right here on Simple Racing Broadcasts. And tonight we head to, of course, the legendary Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. It's a track that needs no introduction, but we're going to do it anyway. It's a 7-kilometre roller coaster of a track, nestled in the Ardennes forest and packed with high-speed turns, slower technical corners, and of course iconic names like Eau Rouge, Blanchimont and La Source. With just 3 rounds remaining, the championship battle is starting to reach boiling point, where every point counts, every move matters, and of course Spa's unforgiving nature could make or break title hopes tonight. Expect some fierce competition, bold strategy choices, I am sure. The weather here in Belgium, of course, looking absolutely beautiful for this evening's race. Get yourself settled in, get your favourite beverage, and sit back ready for another night of phenomenal racing. My name is Jared Cole, and I'd love to welcome you back to the coverage. Of course, in the booth with me tonight, Dean Biggles Hopton. And Biggles, it's Spa. It's a legendary track for good reason, and I know certainly a favourite of many drivers and commentators the world over. How about you? What are your thoughts on this track?
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. It's the temple of, like they said, the temple of speed is Monza. I mean, and this is the forest of speed, essentially, isn't it? Here, up here in Belgium, and it's got the elevation changes that you don't find in modern tracks, because you could, and it's also so long, 7.01 kilometer track as well too. And Belgium's also one of those famous tracks, well, Spa's famous track, where it can be raining down one end in La Source, whatever, and then down the other end into Brussels or anything like that, it could be completely dry.
Yeah, it's an absolute cracker of a track. Of course, tonight, no concerns with weather. 19 degrees, the air temp, a little bit of humidity around, but only partly cloudy. No rain on the horizon for our 2 races this evening. Race 1, a 12-lap sprint, although it hardly seems fair to call it a sprint around a track of this length. Race 2 will be the longer, of course, race 2 being 24 laps tonight, with, as usual, our reverse top 10 grid from the results of race number 1. The drivers are out on track right now, and we will go and take a quick look at the championship points before we check out qualifying action. And this is how it stands before we kick off tonight. Jeremy Washington holding a fairly comfortable lead at the moment over Reese Wakefield, but certainly not insurmountable. And keep your eye on Josh Benno and Danny P, not that far behind either. A little further back, you've got Kyle Ridley and Mick Polly absolutely locked in battle for P5, only a point separating them. Aaron Gilbert, got to watch his tail as well. Aaron Schotter, James Salhani and Dean Powell all right there looking to make their way up the leaderboard in the remaining 3 rounds. It's going to be a close one, Biggles. I don't know how to call it just yet. We're still a few rounds to go, and I don't think we're done seeing just a few moves up and down the board yet, are we?
Consistency is going to be the key in the final rounds, so you've got to be able to make sure you get yourself a nice top 10 finish for those drivers that are looking to get one hand onto the championship trophy. And of course, any of these races, the 2 races that we can have tonight, can make a big difference on that one. So yeah, you don't need necessarily a race win, you just need consistency. And I'd say top 5, top 3, even better. That's all you probably need to walk away with here at the end of the day, and maximize the points you can get.
Well, let's go check out some of the on-track action here in qualifying. We'll see how our drivers are doing, and why not start with our main man, Jeremy Washington, who right now is sitting a fairly comfortable P2 with qualifying times. We're almost just over the halfway mark here in qualifying, and Washington looking to maybe just reset there. Danny P now coming around for his hopefully hot lap here as he makes his way down the front straight at Spa. It's a long lap here, Biggles, isn't it? I mean, a bit over 2 minutes. It's one of the longer laps these guys are doing in this season, but also gives you an idea of just the sheer pace involved here at Spa when you do consider that it is a 7-kilometre lap. To be knocking that over in just over 2 minutes, these guys are making their way around at an absolute rate of knots.
I love it as he flies up through Eau Rouge, the Red River, up the top of the elevation, of course, down Camel Straight, just absolutely flat out. And you want to get it perfectly right into Lacombe, because that's a sweeping a series of a right hand, then back to a left hand, and right, left, right, that kind of thing, as you're going to see here now. And that's all. It's all key to keep it out of the fence there. Keep it get on the power there. Sweep it around. Just kink it over to the right-hand side there, and then you got your downhill into another series of sweeping rights. It's just so great, and this is where you can get it all wrong in this sector here before you get to more of the high-speed sections later on down into the track.
And of course, Poohorn just ahead of Danny P. It is a monster of a corner. It's so deceptive in the radius of it. It's so hard to get it right at pace. We see him execute it absolutely beautifully, just a touch over 200 kilometers an hour on the way through. Got to be one of my favorite parts of this track, Biggles, is just how much those elevation changes play in to the driving strategy. This fast back half of the track is marked by a couple of tricky corners, but really all of the fun comes in that first sector, that first couple of sectors on the way around this track, as you really just punch out as best a lap you can while dealing with the changing demands of uphill and downhill braking. It's so easy to be thrown off on this track.
And you can see it's no smooth sailing. You can see the Danny P himself there in the camera. You see in certain parts of the track that he's really fighting that steering wheel a bit with the bumps and the elevation changes you mentioned. He's only got to navigate the bus stop right now, sweeping over completely almost opposite lock there, Steph going left and right. Will cross the line. Danny P is still on the top of the timesheets to see if he's improved.
Did set a new sector there, ever so slight improvement on the way around as we go to Kyle Ridley, the SLM Motorsport entry. I'm expecting we'll no doubt see some support in here for him this evening as he makes his way, of course, towards the S's. Getting caught in a little bit of traffic right now, sitting in P5 with just over 4 minutes to go in this qualifying session. So not a bad start ahead for him. Reese Wakefield, meanwhile, just set a very, very quick lap, puts himself ahead of championship contender Jeremy Washington. And yeah, it's going to be a very, very interesting first race, I'm sure. Spa, a favourite track for a lot of these drivers. And so I'm expecting the competition will be tight. Honestly, I was expecting the times, though, at the front of the field to perhaps be maybe even a little closer than they are, because...
Really? A 7-kilometre track circuit? What do you expect?
Look, I mean, Spa is one of those tracks, right? Everyone drives it all the time. And as a result, the level of knowledge that most of these drivers have of Spa is fairly intimate, and so you do end up seeing some pretty tight times. Look, you're probably right. I'm probably asking a lot. I mean, we're still talking a second separating the first 13. Maybe I'm just getting too used to this level of competition here.
Yeah, you are. But that's still brilliant, isn't it? I mean, a second, as you said, separating the top 13 drivers is 14 drivers actually, Brad. So that's impressive for a long track in GT3 cars. Now, I mean, that's something that barely do in Formula One, my friend. So it goes to show you, these drivers are the best in the world.
Yeah, they absolutely are. And of course, we know that a couple of them, indeed, Danny P, Reese Wakefield, I believe, both participating in GT Pro over the weekend as well. So they've been kept busy, that's for sure, as Dean Power crosses the line. Can improve not on this lap, so he'll stay in ninth at the moment. Josh Benno just crossing as well to nudge out Jeremy Washington's time. So Washington's still on the second row for now. Not a huge amount of time remaining in the session. I don't think it's going to be enough for Washington to carve out a new fastest time. But here he goes. He's on the hot lap. Let's follow him around and see what he can deliver. And he's going to have to really push it here, because looking at the time, he's got just under 2 minutes left to run. The question is, how far was he into this lap when he hit that 2 minute mark? I reckon it's going to be down to the absolute wire to see if he can actually make this lap count here, Biggles.
Let's see if your drone can keep up to the speedy Jeremy Washington. At the moment, he goes all the way down the Camel Straight. He's pulled it off. He's backed it off.
Backed it in.
Yep.
Unfortunate. Lee Keldulis now, of course, make his way around in the BE Electrical Acura. It's a good delivery, as always, from BE guys. Plenty of these orange cars represented every time we get out on track with MC Motorsport. And, of course, he's out there trying to improve. Still sitting in P6, so not a bad starting position for him at the moment. But this will be his last shot at just lifting his starting position. It's important here at Spa, of course, because you don't want to be caught in the mid-pack that first time through Eau Rouge, and probably my greatest fear here, Biggles, is seeing these guys trying to go 2 or 3 wide up the hill the first time. I expect that if that happens, we're going to be calling a very, very early safety car.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you'd be surprised how I've seen so many league races through here in Spa over the years, and I've seen them go too wide through there. It can work. It's, believe it or not, I've been in the iRacing world. It's a lot more manageable than it is. You wouldn't see it in the real world situations too often, but you can see it. Old Lee can chuck a couple of solar panels in the back of that car and get a little bit extra boost.
I don't think he's going to have the time to do it, though. 10 seconds left in this session. I suspect that we may have just seen the last of the qualifying runs. As we come to the end of the session, drivers will be finishing up, and we will go to the grid in just a moment, let you know how this is all going to kick off. Courtney Plath, welcome back once again. It's lovely to have you here, and always good to see you here supporting Kyle as he makes the best of efforts to improve his finishing position and sneak his way up the leaderboard. We draw closer and closer to the end of this competition for Season 3. Domains2U GT3 Championship kicking off here at Spa. This is the grid for race number 1. Danny P and Reese Wakefield will take pole position and second position respectively. The two teammates starting on the front row, followed closely by Josh Benno and Jeremy Washington, then Kyle Ridley and Lee Keldoulis on row number 3. James Salhani returns to the front end of the pack, along with Dan Mirko, then Dean Power and Aidan Williams ahead of Aaron Schotter and Mick Polly. Then James Lawrence and James Bunker lining up alongside each other. Brad Cooper and Dean Jacobson behind them. Then Ryan Palmer and Mitch Curry ahead of Charlie Milliken and Aaron Gilbert, rounding out your top 20 this evening. Patrick Frame and Nathan Bowman ahead of Aaron James and Wiley Blair. As we go further back through the pack, Simon Caplet and Trev Mortimer will line up alongside each other, followed by Josh Harris and Daniel Harrod. Then Henry King and Chris Lashbrook ahead of Luke Patton and Dylan Thomas, with Ronald Long and Martin Lipsky taking the back row here, and it is looking very much like another very, very fast pack here this evening, Biggles. I can't wait for it.
As stated out there in the chat there from Tyson, it's the Antic Bulls, the Antic Motorsports, locking out the front row. Reese Wakefield and Danny P there, with Josh Bonneau and Jeremy. So it's the JJs on the second row, and it's the DRs on the front. We'll see how they can all line up with that for Kai Ridley as well too. In Lee and Jeremy Washington in the Kai and Lee in the third row. I'll get it right at some point, mate. Sorry.
At some point. It's fine. It's fine. We're getting ready to go racing here. The lineup of cars all the way back around the corner. It's a bit of an odd starting position here, but we are ready to go as the lights come up. And we are green for race 1. A phenomenal start right throughout the pack. You can see already some argy-bargy in the background. One of the BE electrical cars pushed to the side as Aaron Schotter starts to make his way up through the pack. Up the hill we go once, and we've got 11 more times, would you believe, getting through that in one piece. We've still got to make it there, of course, as the rest of the field makes their way through. So far, so good. Look, honestly, I was pretty happy to have started there, because I think it's about the only thing that slowed it down enough for us to make it through there in one piece. The two Antic cars under threat from Kyle Ridley, who's had an absolutely phenomenal start here at Spa. Finds himself all the way up to P2, with Reese Wakefield giving up his front row position very, very early. Now, this is, of course, always one of the dangerous parts of this track, as we try to negotiate some of these tighter bends with a lot of traffic this early on. Nathan Bowman's throwing it side to side in the background for Maximum Effort Racing, trying to make his way past Aaron Gilbert as they come down the hill once more. It's a surprisingly clean start, Biggles. Honestly, I was expecting far worse. James Salhani in there with Josh Bowman as well, Josh Benno rather, just trading places. A little bit of movement up the front, but the news right now is all
Josh
Kyle
and Jeremy.
Ridley.
Yeah, Kyle Ridley getting up a couple of places. Reese Wayfield's taken that one back. Kyle was up at a P2. Jeremy Washington and Josh were just going for it too for now, and Jeremy Washington's got the edge of it. Oh, further back there, James and Aaron shot it out, Lee Keller there. So getting into each other, mate, as you can see in the pictures. Early days here in Spa.
Salhani off to the side of the track, shot it even further to the side. Mick Polly's going to look to capitalise on that. Shot having to run very, very wide into the sand there to avoid it all. This has been almost 3/4 of the lap now, Biggles. What a way to start at Spa. Here we go down for the first time to that final chicane, which just, this is where it all happens. There's a little bit of contact. Everyone slows it right down, hopefully all making it through. That's Salhani off to the side as we wait and see if everybody does get through in one piece. Danny P setting the fastest, opening lap 2:05.8. Of course, a shorter than full lap, so I don't know that we can count that, but anyhow, side by side into turn one. We look now to Aidan Williams, James Bunker, Mitch Curry all in amongst it. Curry sporting a distinctly different livery this evening. It's Aidan Williams we're seeing in the FCR SimSport Porsche as well, green and gold. My apologies, Mitch, it is absolutely the same livery on your Mustang. But so far, so good. I'm honestly, I was expecting far more chaos, but right now we are getting into it. This is the battle for fifth right now. Lee Peldulla's under all sorts of pressure, and you can see in the background going 2-3 wide, Charlie Milliken and Wiley Blair trading places on the way in. Don't forget Simon Caplet right behind them as they battle for 19th. And here it all comes unstuck. We've got cars off everywhere. That's Blair off into the grass. He's managed to get it going again. Thankfully, Charlie Milliken making it through without too much damage from all of that as well. And further up, Mick Polly's had a bit of an issue. He is into the wall. That is a dangerous spot for that Porsche to be stopped. You see the rest of the field coming around in the background. He's just going to have to wait this one out. He'll drop all the way to the back of the field. Meanwhile, as we jump further up, Ryan Palmer in the mix as well. He's got Williams right on his tail as he looks to try and close in on James Lawrence ahead. Dan Mirko under threat, but closes the door as they go through. Biggles, I don't know how we're going to keep up with this tonight. There is so much going on throughout this field. It's sort of, I don't know, I was expecting it to perhaps maybe not be quite as intense, given the distance we had in qualifying between some of these times, but not to be outdone. These guys have absolutely brought it here so far in race one.
Yeah, good to see the battles all the way across the field there. You go on the spread. We've got battles down in 29th place. We've got battles at 20th place. We've got battles up in 8th and 9th. Danny P's still not a massive lead that he's got over Reese Wakefield, so that's going to be a battle in the brewing in the mix as well too. So bit of a nightmare for production levels as I'm just seeing Ryan getting into the back there of Lawrence in the pictures too. But yeah, mate, it's just got to keep you sharp on your toes, of course, and everybody else tuning in. Thank you very much for that. If we get a chance, perhaps we'll look at that. Charlie has gone into pit road early.
He's got to have copped some damage earlier with that collision with Wiley, you'd have to think, wouldn't you? The field just starting to settle now a little. We've still got plenty going on, but not quite as compressed as we were that first couple of laps. We're into lap 3 of 12 now. And finally, the field just starting to get a little bit, just the tiniest bit of space.
Pressure mounting for the lead right now. Danny P's coming on a massive attack there from Reese Wakefield. He just hit the fastest lap on that last lap, lap 3.
Now this will be interesting because we did see a few team conversations going on as James Lawrence makes the pass up the inside for Antic, pushes Mirko wide, the two McLarens side by side through the turn, but Lawrence has the drive out of the corner. We certainly heard that Polton and Wakefield were talking it up last week and trying to get the best result for the team overall in last week's result, and I have no doubt we'll see some more of the same here tonight. Reese Wakefield desperately needs the points here this evening if he wants to stay in touch with Jeremy Washington at the front of this championship. Aidan Williams right now on the back of Ryan Palmer. He's looking for a passing opportunity. Not going to get there this time, but he is menacing.
What you got to do, force other drivers into some mistakes, make a mirror drive.
Contact there, I think, and that's pushed Josh Harris off to the side of the track. Aaron James in the BPS Outdoors Motorsports car rolls on through. Did look like some contact. Could have just been, of course, Harris getting it a little bit too hard on the rear brakes there, but James continues, and that'll be one for race control to take a look at if there is any concern, of course. We go further up the field. Aidan Williams now under pressure from Mitch Curry as they come down towards the line to finish off lap 3.
Boss man, going to send it up the inside.
Big send up the inside.
But he's going to have to lift off because he gets onto that chicane and it just throws the car up. Even these heavy GT3s, it just throws them up around the place.
Yeah, those sausage curbs are not to be messed with.
No, fight for another day into La Source perhaps. I wouldn't worry about La Source. I'd get a good exit out of Eau Rouge and then take them down the Camel Straight into Lacombe.
Palmer and Mirko are going to be side by side as they get to Eau Rouge if they're not careful. Mirko just slotting in behind, probably the best choice at this stage, although he's got the run on Palmer. There's contact.
Side by
big
side.
Big slide. That's Palmer. Palmer is into the wall. Huge contact. Ryan Palmer, massive damage. I wonder if he knows that he's missing that rear wing. We're going to find out shortly because he'll have no high-speed stability through these corners. This is dangerous for the Mustang driver. As we see further up.
Steering's a bit broken as well too, so he's in big trouble.
Dan Jacobson's had a bit of an issue there as well, and he's had to drop right back through the pack. Dan Mirko, James Bunker all still in it at this point. Waiting to see. It looks like we're going to get away without any safety car there. Palmer's actually got it going.
Dan and Norman.
Good old Nathan Bowman. Making his way from back of the field, up 7 positions into 15th as he makes his way past Mirko's McLaren. A real pack going on here as we start to see a little bit of separation happening further up in the field. If you take a look at your timing tower, you'll see there's a good couple of seconds between most of the drivers. There's a couple of exceptions though. Out front, of course, the MC Motorsport entries just tagging along together, doing their best to keep it safe and keep them intact. It looks as though we might have a bit of a temporary pairing here almost between Washington and Ridley as they try to stay in touch with the Acuras out in front. And then, of course, further back, Aaron Schotter was threatening for a while there with Dean Power. It looks as though he's just had to make the move and start to pull away as Power tries to reel him in again. The Mustang, of course, very, very quick in the slipstream as they make their way down. Plenty of debris on track from cars running wide over these first few laps, but not bothering too many of these GT3 cars as they make their way down these very, very fast straights. Salhani just protecting the inside as he's got Williams in behind him, and he's managed to recover reasonably well from that earlier issue, running wide on track, down 5 positions, so a little bit of work to do. Mitch Curry at the moment, mind you, up 7 positions and about to make the pass on Brad Cooper if he can just get there. Both late on the brakes. Curry's going to have to think about just going over and under again. He's not going to get there though because Salhani's right on his tail. And now, are we looking 2 or 3 wide here at Eau Rouge?
Oh yeah, go give us 2 or 3 drive. Right, just talk to Ryan Palmer about how that pans out.
At the moment, everyone seems to have big move side to side there from Salhani. That's going to burn a little bit of speed, but he's got the pace and he makes his way past Cooper. Now on the tail of Curry for P10. This pack of cars jockeying for position. Salhani goes to the inside. Does Curry know he's there? So far, so good. As Brad Cooper drops further back, he's been pushed wide, just keeps it on the track, has to settle for dropping in behind Bunker's Vegemite entry. But Nathan Bowman there threatening once again.
And the leaders are just approaching Pilon right now as these drivers still managing to just get past Lacombs and stuff like that. So that's just to show you the difference so far we have on lap 5 and 12 in the spread of the field.
Yeah, it's amazing just how quickly this sort of back and forth battle starts to cost you a huge amount of time. But look, you know what? It's great viewing for us. So as long as they're happy to do it, we're happy to keep an eye on it. Check out Daniel Harrod on the back of Trev Mortimer. He looked like he was going to try and make a pass there as they came through Pilon. So far, managing to hold it. Looks to the inside. We've got a post-race investigation coming from that earlier collision. So that involved, of course, cars 86, 679 and 989. So that was Charlie Milliken and Charlie Milliken making contact with Josh Harris earlier on, as well as, of course, car 86, which was Wiley Blair. So the very early incident we saw there being put to post-race so that race control can continue to keep an eye on what's happening on track right now. And as we move forward, this battle pack of 4 for 10th barely separated over the last lap. Curry's still hanging on to that position. Salhani just happy to sit in behind for the moment. But Williams and Bunker right there, and of course, just behind them, Cooper, Bowman, Jacobson, Mirko, all sitting in close together. A big moment, Trev Mortimer almost into the wall, just keeps it off there. He's going to lose positions, but much better than damaging that beautiful Mercedes.
Yeah, lucky there's a wall there, otherwise you're straight to pit road. And if you're not straight to pit road, you are off the edge of a cliff, essentially, that where the pit lane entrance covers off. But Reese Wakefield might be very, very close to making a run. I've been kind of keeping an eye on these two for a bit now, and snap of oversteer there as well too for Reese. So that's going to cost a little bit of time, about almost to a second. He'll drop to Danny P right now. He's been fighting to keep up Danny P. It's just Reese Wakefield's been making it up in the second sector a lot. Gets on the tailpipe of Danny P, but then Danny P just kind of just has that acceleration and has the La Source and Eau Rouge and all that sort of stuff taken care of. And then Reese Wakefield can't get close enough for the Lycombe, and then just to do it all over again now. And further back in the field, more action.
More action, of course. Gilbert on the tail of Harrod with Lashbrook coming on to the right. The three Mustangs going at it as we make our way down the hill towards Poulan. And hard to split these guys at the moment. There's battles going on right throughout this pack. And again, very, very little to separate these guys. Wiley Blair's just had a moment. We'll go back and just check, see what's happened here. Wiley Blair just limping it and getting caught up on the chicane there. Look at the damage in that rear left and rear right for that matter. That car is not healthy.
Gets the job at pit lane right entrance there, so have to get the pit crew to get that one fixed up there. I think it was a drive-through penalty in the 197 from Aaron James in the VP Outdoors Motorsports.
And that'll be that contact earlier with Ryan Palmer, sending him into the wall. Keep your eyes here on James Bunker, the Vegemite McLaren, making the move up the inside. A late dive under brakes. He's got to be careful not to run into the rear of Salhani. They make contact on the way through. Williams, though, gives the position up. And Bunker is on his way to follow Salhani onto Mitch Curry's tailpipe. Oh, we've got a big moment in the background. Big moment. Is that Chris Lashbrook in the background and Aaron Gilbert coming together?
Yeah.
We'll go back and we'll take a look at that in just a moment. Really compress the back of the field here. The final chicane, as always, causing all sorts of dramas. Well, that's some very distinct contact from Gilbert. Lashbrook goes around. Gilbert continues on.
And he wasn't happy with the overtake. Perhaps. And the door banger. We got the James and James show as well too. And for 11th, interesting approach into Lacombe.
Cooper makes his way around the outside of Bowman. A little bit of contact there. It's not the first time we've seen Cooper push wide. This time he sticks in it though. The two Porsches going at it. Somehow, the light's flashing. He's not happy with that one at all. He's going to try and make the move up the inside again. Pulls out of it, allows Bowman to come back across. The three Porsches, Bowman, Cooper and Jacobson, just ahead of Mirko's McLaren. And this is our next battle pack for 14th. Just keeping an eye here on Mitch Curry up ahead of this group as well, Biggles. And James Lawrence has at some point started to just open this gap up even further. So they're now talking almost 3 seconds up the road to the next car. This battle is just taking far too much out of them. At the moment, Curry's probably pretty happy to just hang where he is and get the reverse grid in race 2 if he can hold on to it for another, 5 1/4 laps. That's going to be a big ask if Salhani and Bunker have got anything to do with it, though.
Yeah, so time to perhaps try and get something done there. With a few mistakes that are starting to creep in right now for drivers, that is very much something that might happen. James might be looking at getting this one up the inside of Mitch Curry, getting the switcher under. But Mitch Curry looks like it's got that one covered quite well. They're both getting the loud pedal there. Windscreen wipers are used from James to get rid of all those bugs that have squashed on his windscreen.
Dan Mirko getting the drive through for contact with Ryan Palmer as well.
There it is. Yeah.
Palmer's having a shocker of a night tonight, isn't he, for people going into his car. Right now, though, this is the action. P10, hotly contested tonight. Do you think these drivers are thinking about the reverse grid, or is it just where they happen to have ended up? I suspect this is just where they've ended up.
Yeah, for now, anyway, on this lap. James is going to go to the... Oh, he beat Kimmy and I in the other battle at the moment too, that's right. James has gone to the actual racing line, which has gone defensive. Just making the car in the middle. Best place to put it, actually, if you want to be defensive into Lacombe, is to just park it in the middle. That way you've covered off the next couple of turns after that. So, which carry playing the wise shoulders on the number 89 Ford.
And he's going to need to continue that for a while because Salhani seems to have him on pace. Doesn't matter what Curry's throwing at him, he can't shake him off the tail. So he's going to have to be thinking about defending the whole way down. A puff of dust as Williams goes just a little wider than he probably intended there. It's an interesting corner, that one, at the top of the hill there. The motorcycle version of the track actually takes that first turn. And I'll be honest, I actually prefer that layout to this one. I don't know why, but it's just a nicer corner as a result.
They're all nice corners when it comes to Spa, my friend.
Well, they are. It's true. There's no denying that. It is an absolutely gorgeous track to drive.
They're all nice when your car's on the tarmac.
Yeah, that is a key thing to keep in mind. Keep it on the tarmac, and you will have a much better night than anywhere else around this track. Curry's going to have to go so defensive here. Salhani looks to the inside. Curry's going to have to stay wide on the exit of this turn. Salhani's not going to get an opportunity to go up the inside. Curry stays there. Now he moves across. He knows he's got the pace. Bunker looking to the outside. Salhani, the two McLarens side by side. Bunker pushes his way through, forces the nose in there, and picks up the spot.
Good job from Bunker, actually. I think James was so focused on battling Mitch Curry, he didn't even realise that his mirror was the other McLaren, the 156 of James Bunker.
Take a look a bit further back. Nick Polly now trying to reel in Josh Harris at the back of this group. And they go side by side up the front straight. Into turn one, this is going to be interesting. Does Polly have the brakes to actually re-establish that position? Harris goes wide, swings it back in. He's going to have to run out of the corner. Let's see how they look when they come down to Eau Rouge. The sheer pace here tonight has been absolutely insane. Like, it's a fast track, we know that, but no holds barred from any of these drivers. Polly managing to hold off Harris for a little while longer here. As we get news that Dan Mirko appears to have had a crash. Now, whether that's just a slowdown on the way into the pits, let's check on this. Just getting on the loud pedal just a little too early and having to spin it back around. But probably not what he had in mind.
And it happens a lot here in Spa and in all the car classes that I've seen out of the final chicane, out of the final bus stop. People in the loud pedal and just go around. Yep, surprised you don't see that in Formula 1 very often, actually, or the Formula 2 and any of those sort of leagues that are running at the same time that they head to Spa. But it's just an iRacing thing, perhaps. A small bumps or something like that they might have just eked out the real track.
I think that's the difference you see.
Aren't as powerful.
Honestly, it's I don't think the F1 cars take anywhere near as much curb there, or any of the open wheels. I don't think you can afford to take any curb through that because they are just so vicious. You have a look at it on the way through, just the elevation of those inner curbs. You've got to be really, really careful not to clip the, let's call it the inner sausage that's around both sides of that chicane. You can take a bit of the red and yellow curb, but yeah, as soon as you get the wheels up onto that extended sausage, it really does cause all sorts of dramas for most cars.
As long as I don't put that sausage on the outside of Eau Rouge, and you'd be perfectly fine, because that would be very dangerous on the inside of Eau Rouge too, going up into Radion.
That it would.
You got rid of all that. There'll be talks of extending that to the right-hand side, of course, when you come over Radion, but you just can't. I mean, you go, oh, just push back the trees there, but there's a cliff literally there. So we're going to have to put a whole bunch of landfill if you actually wanted to try to extend that and make it safer. Just nowhere to run off, really. Just got to maybe push, not even have the grass and just have the cars and maybe put similar to what they do on IndyCar and put some sort of safety barrier in there so they can bounce and just let the momentum of the car slide down the hill, eventually slow it down. That's what he talks about that too.
That's the only option there, really, isn't it? It's a dangerous part of the track if not for those barriers.
Yep. But barriers can be safe, like an Indy, because that's all there is. An IndyCar, especially in Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's very true.
But that's because of the fact that you got to let the car not come to an abrupt stop. That's what the problem has been, hasn't it? At the top of the hill there before in the past when a car's caught in the kitty litter, and then bang, you get T-boned at 300 kilometers an hour. It's not pretty.
No, not at all. Go further back to the field. Henry King losing a couple of positions now. This is the battle for 20th as Trev Mortimer gets through now. Look for Luke Patton coming up the inside on the way through Perron. And King forced the outside. He's going to have to cull a lot of speed there to actually stay on track. And as a result, Nick Polly making a move as well. He's going to find himself on the outside as we come to this next corner, though. At this stage, though, Polly got the pace and it continues on. Mitch Curry, once again, James Salhani riding his tail. In the background, though, Dean Jacobson having a big moment, managing to get it back on track somehow. A huge save for the Porsche driver. That Porsche just absolutely keen on spinning itself backwards, isn't it? The usual.
What's she doing? Porsche things.
Exactly. Curry goes defensive once again. Salhani, though, this time he's going to jam the nose up the inside. He hasn't got him. He has. Salhani's been going after that lap after lap. Curry, though, getting the drive out of the corner, manages to recover it and finds himself back in front on the run down to turn one. He's going to push Salhani out to the very edge of the track. And Curry somehow maintains P10 for just a moment longer. Salhani, though, the drive out of the corner. Curry just having a little bit of a wiggle. Here comes Salhani up the inside. James Bunker is going to look to go with him. Curry's going to force him.
We got our too wide. We've got our too wide. You wanted it. You got it. Whoa!
Curry going very, very, very narrow on that other corner. I don't know if he's managing to get away without a slowdown there, but now we're 3 wide as Bunker forces himself on. Are we going 4 wide? Williams has a think about it.
If the track's wide enough, they would, but they're going to have to go 3 wide, and they will.
Curry obviously dealing with the slowdown there from the run up Eau Rouge, and that has completely changed the order because James Bunker finds himself in front for just a moment before Salhani regains. Now Williams has the opportunity as he comes up the inside. Has Bunker ended up with a slowdown from that little excursion as well? It doesn't look like it. These 4 providing some of the most entertaining racing here this evening, and this is for P10.
This is NASCAR now. We got 2x2 by almost 2x2 there.
Salhani pushed wide off into the kitty litter. That's going to slow him down. Here comes Williams.
Almost 3 wide again here. Yeah.
Williams and Salhani side by side through Perron. Salhani having to go wide. He's going to have to drop back in behind Williams right now. Bunker starting to pull away just ever so slightly. But Williams a huge run. Salhani, massive under brakes. Can he get it done? Keep your eye in the background. Salhani looking for an opportunity. All of a sudden, this is a 5-6-way battle because we've got Nathan Bowman and Dean Jacobson who have caught up to the back of this pack.
Yeah, just when you thought that was excitement too, we've got Danny P and Reece Wakefield still going for it, but keep your eyes peeled on that because Reece got really close, but this is definitely the closest battle that you're seeing on there at the moment there with Aiden, Mick James, Mitch Curry and Bowman.
This is going to be interesting. We've entered the final lap. Danny P's crossed the line and we are on to lap 12 of 12 here in race 1
as well, but he's going to compromise the exit there. Have to lift off, otherwise he's going to turn Aiden Williams.
There's
so difficult to overtake through the bus stop.
Yeah, there's only one good line through it. You just lose so much speed if you find yourself off that. But unfortunately, when the racing is this tight, you've got no choice but to really push for it. As it stands, though,
it looks easy.
Oh, it is not. That is one of the most difficult corners.
This is the time Reece Wakefield's really putting the pressure on Danny P too for the lead of this race. Danny P's left every lap so far. And Reece Wakefield's getting a little tired of seeing that 970 machine up the road there. It's going to apply that final pressure. I don't think they're thinking about this reverse grid race right now because they're going to be starting back in that 10th or 9th place according to it. And I don't think Reece Wakefield's opportunity has to be ascend into the bus stop now, I think.
Yeah,
and that will
this
be a
is what we're
very
going to be
late
waiting
send.
for. It will be incredibly late if he does decide to go for it here.
Oh, you wait to see. Reese Wakefield gets this third sector hooked up really, really well, and that'll be the key. He has been doing it all night long that I've been seeing, but just can't get the overtake done into the bus stop. So the only thing I would suggest I do that now would be a send, but I really don't think it's worthwhile. You got good points here at the moment. You're going to get yourself a good position for race 2 inside that top 10. So that's what we're going to be about right now. Danny P just has to hold on for basically a sector right now and get this race win.
3 more corners, depending on how you count them. Wakefield, though, he's closed the gap, so he's going to sit right in behind. This is going to be so close as they make their way around the last couple of corners before that final dreaded chicane. Here we go.
Wakefield going to park it in the middle.
Looks the outside.
Right. Oh. Yeah, just in the middle-ish, just keep maintains it, and then that should be job done. Nothing that Reese Wakefield's going to be able to take for that one. Danny P gets the win in the heat race.
Reese Wakefield right behind him. More importantly, Jeremy Washington right behind them as well. Kyle Ridley coming across a phenomenal 4th from him, followed by Luke Eldulis and Josh Benno. Then Aaron Schotter crosses the line. Dean Powell a little further back needs to keep an eye on James Lawrence. And here comes that pack we've spent so long watching. Somehow Bunkers managed to stay out in front. Curry managed to stay ahead of Nathan Bowman. Brad Cooper tails through in the end, and then Dean Jacobson just couldn't stick with them and had to slow it right down. I believe he might have had even a little issue there further back. But the win tonight, Danny P, just absolutely massive this evening as he comes on down the main straight. And we'll bring him on in to the booth. Danny, are you with us?
Hello, I am certainly here. Hello, fellas.
Mate, welcome back to the booth. A hell of a drive here to start this evening. Congratulations on the win, first of all. How did that feel holding off Reese?
To be honest, I actually felt pretty good. Reese was behind me, but I didn't think he was going to pass because I felt like I had traction at the corners, but he was just sitting at my toe and just hanging on.
Well, it looked like a fairly tight battle towards the end there. How much chatter this week? We were speaking earlier about a bit of conversation going on about the battle for points and what was going to be best for the team. Tonight, you're pretty determined to take that top step, eh?
Yeah, I was determined. Like, we have the agreement that who's in front is in front. So I guess it's the battle who can get off the line, and then if someone makes a mistake, you just capitalise on it. But it's all about keeping us 2 at the front. It's 1 point between Reese and I, so it doesn't really overly matter in the bigger picture.
How'd you feel about Kyle Ridley's race start as well too? Got up as far as 2nd, actually, giving you a bit of a run for our money, and then yourself and Reese started to get control of that race again.
Yeah, I saw him and I saw his overtake on Reese, and I was like, whoa, he stuck it there. And then next second I looked down at my rearview mirror and he's 3 seconds behind, so I have no idea what happened, but Reese got past him, so I don't know if Jeremy assisted in that, but I'm assuming he did. But yeah, Kyle's pace at opening stint was crazy.
So now starting from P10, we saw a very interesting first run up Eau Rouge this evening. How are you feeling about being mid-pack for that?
I don't know. I think as long as I keep myself cool and avoid any craziness or chaos, it should be okay. But again, if that safety car comes out, I don't know what I'll be doing is pitting, because I didn't do that last week. Can't beat me in the back. But yeah, that's about it really.
Well,
Just don't pit too early.
No.
Don't do an Oscar moment.
I won't pit too early or too late. It'll be at just the right time.
All right. Danny P, it's neither early nor late, but precisely when he's meant to. Mate, enjoy the brief break between races, and we'll see you out on track in just a few minutes' time.
Yeah, thank you, fellas.
Danny P taking the win there in race number 1. And Biggles, it's not going to make a huge difference to the championship standings. Wakefield and Washington finishing side by side, more or less. A couple seconds between them. That's all that Washington needs to do here tonight, is just stay in touch with Wakefield. He can afford to give away a few points this close to the end, but doesn't want to give away too many, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, yep, absolutely. But the biggest gainer of that one would be Danny P, because Joshua ended up finishing in that race all the way back in... where did Joshua finish, actually? Sorry.
Josh Bowman actually finished... Josh Benno. Josh Bowman. Nathan Bowman. Josh Benno finished in 6th, so a few spots further back. It's not going to be a huge impact to his position, but it's certainly not getting him any closer to the front of it. So I'm starting to feel like this is down to Washington and Wakefield for the championship this season in the Domains2U GT3 championship. I don't know if Wakefield's got enough of an opportunity left in this season to put the distance. It's going to really take either a strategic fumble from Washington in one of the longer races, or it's going to require Washington finding himself out of a race for some reason. It's going to be a big ask for Wakefield to try and take the championship at this stage, I think.
Yeah, it's a consistency as well too that Jeremy Washington's got, because Jeremy Washington with 9 top 5 finishes and Reese has got 6, but Reese has got more race wins with 4 and Jeremy's got 2, so it just goes to show you don't always need to get the race wins to win. It's Jeremy Washington's consistent 9 top 5 finishes that's going to be the one that's going to be painful for Reese, because Reese knows he can get those race wins if he can, but as Jeremy's always pretty much guaranteed to get that top 5 finish, and that's just not going to be enough.
9 top 5 finishes is pretty insane.
Out of 9 races.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've had 9 races. I was going to say 9 out of 10, but no, we've had the one enduro already, so that is actually 9 out of 9 top 5s for Washington this season. You're spot on. The consistency it's mind-blowing. It really is. Washington is not here racing for a win every round. He is racing very, very consistently, and you can see the points just stacking up over the course of the season.
And if he has those points leads, going into the final rounds as well, then he may have a little bit to play with at the end to absolutely just go for gold and just go for the race win, so he secures the championship on the top step of the podium as well. That's what he might have up his sleeve, and it's maximum risk it for the biscuit, because even if he doesn't, even has a DNF, he still has enough points to win the championship. So that's what Jeremy Washington would be hoping for, I'd imagine.
Yeah, you'd have to think so at this stage. But hey, look, we'll have to wait and see. With any luck, Washington's keeping that number 1 on his car for another season, but we've still got a number of races to go. Of course, we've got round 2, race 2 of round 6, depending on how you want to word it, coming up in just a couple of minutes' time. And then, of course, we have the 2 hour at Daytona next week, followed by the grand finale, Magny Core, in round 8. So still plenty of racing for these guys to figure out. Yeah, it's
for a league race. Actually, I haven't been there in ages.
Gorgeous tracks. Another good one.
Yeah. You don't think there's a lot of overtaking on that track, but there was that I had in a league race today, which is pretty similar, I would have to say, in the iRating levels that these guys have got to. Well, I mean, the Super Formulas, that they were a little bit different beast to handle, but still a lot of fun for action, for overtakes. So make sure you definitely tune in, hit the like and subscribe button on that one. Ring the bells to get the notifications to say, hey, it's finale time. And of course, don't forget next week before that, the penultimate race.
Absolutely. We'll take a quick break and be right back even with the grid for race number 2. Don't go away.
Struggling to get your business online? At Domains2U, we make it easy with fast domain registration, powerful web hosting, and top-tier security solutions. Protect your data and customers with premium security features like domain privacy and SSL encryption. Find the perfect domain name and get online in minutes. Get started today at domains2u.com.au.
The fence. But anyway, that's too late.
We'll have to go back and take a look at that at some point. Absolutely. Welcome back, folks. We're getting ready here for race number 2. James Bunker and James Lawrence. The two Jameses on the front row after finishing in 10th and 9th respectively. Dean Pow and Aaron Schotter taking the second row, with Josh Benno and Lee Keldoulis on the third. Kyle Ridley and Jeremy Washington will line up on row 4, with Reese Wakefield and Danny P rounding out the reversed top 10. The rest of the field right where they finished in race number 1. Aidan Williams and James Salhani just missing out on taking advantage of the reverse top 10. Then Mitch Curry and Nathan Bowman behind them, ahead of Brad Cooper and Dean Jacobson. Daniel Harrod and Trev Mortimer ahead of Aaron Gilbert, and Mick Polly from Southern Cross Racing is in position number 20 for race number 2. Luke Patton and Henry King will start behind them, ahead of Josh Harris and Simon Caplet. Then Dylan Thomas and Ronald Long starting ahead of Martin Lipsky and Dan Mirko. Ryan Palmer, after that first race incident, finds himself back in 29th alongside Patrick Frame. Then Chris Lashbrook and Charlie Milliken. Aaron James and Wiley Blair will round out the field here for race 2. And certainly a few incidents just taking place in race number 1. Ryan Palmer, probably the most memorable of them, Biggles going into the wall at a rate of knots at Eau Rouge.
Yeah, that was the only big accident we did see in Eau Rouge. We did see a couple of side-by-side action that they did survive to get up through the Camel Straight, but we'll see how it pans out now for our feature race coming up, if they're going to be looking to gamble it and risk it for the biscuit all over again. But this time around, of course, we have the likes of our race winner, Danny P, going to be starting P10. Reese Wakefield, is he going to want to try to get the one up on Danny P this time around? And what's Jeremy Washington going to be doing again? He's comfortable getting another top 5 finish, no doubt. That's what he'll be aiming for.
The real question is going to be, if we manage to survive race 1 with no safety cars, will the safety cars come into play here in race 2 when we're considering its strategies?
Yeah, that could bunch him up.
It could.
We get rid of that big spread that we kind of were starting to form. Even though there was a big spread in the first heat, there was action all over the place. So expecting to see that again. Make sure you get your popcorn ready and your seats in the upright position and get ready for the roller coaster adventure of Spa.
We are getting the last of our drivers to the grid now. Starters just making sure that everyone is good to go further back in the field. Honestly, one of the most difficult places to start a race from, because you can't actually see the back of the green flags to be waved. So the marshals working together to get the message to the front of the grid that yes, everyone is ready to go. It looks as though we are
Formula One in
now.
Spa in that wet year.
No, it didn't. No, it didn't. Here we go, folks. We're getting ready to go racing 24 laps here in race number 2 around Spa. James Bunker has the pole, and we are away. Bunker lights the tyres up, a slow start for him. Dean Powell is looking to progress immediately, just nudges his way past James Lawrence. Aaron Schotter right on the back of Bunker as well. And here we go. Dean Powell finds himself the lead. Schotter finds himself out very, very wide as they make their way down for the first time. So far, though, we are all intact. A few changes of position further back in the field. Listen to those GT3 cars roar up the straight. Kyle Ridley, a huge move up the inside. If there's going to be contact there as he managed to pull it up, it looks as though he's got it done. Somehow, Kyle Ridley, contact, big,
that's Reese.
Big move. That's Reese into the wall.
Yep.
Josh Benoit, front goes sideways as well. That's a big moment. We've got more going on. Josh Benoit is backwards in the fence.
Yeah, that's huge. Back there. This may bring out a caution.
We're waiting to hear from race control as to whether that'll bring a caution, but that is not the start that our championship second place getter so far, at least, was hoping for. He's going to find himself a long way back in the pack. So far, though, no sign of a safety car just yet. We'll have to wait and see how they all go.
I think they're all going. Dan's stuck on the track. Dan Mirko. Reese is creeping along with a lot of damage to the 969 Honda. So
I have no idea what's happened there. We're going to have to go back and have a look at it and see just how it's happened. But right now, we are still under green flag racing. Dean Powell enjoying some time out in front. And there it is. The safety car has been called.
Yeah, I was going to say, because they have not retrieved Dan's car. And it looks like, I'm just trying to see, there's the 83 that's stuck out on track somewhere. That's Norman. That's the 53. So yeah, Norman Bowman's stuck on the track too, completely smashed up car. So they have to retrieve those cars off the track. Hence the reason why caution's been called. Cheap pit stops for the drivers right now.
Yeah, they all come.
Yeah, it looks like they're all coming in.
Let's see what happens if we get anyone come up this main straight at this point. It certainly doesn't look that way. Everyone diving to the pits. It looks as though they might have finally learned their lessons from the drivers taking the lap 1 pit stops. As we see Dylan Thomas coming in position 20. The entire field at this point, with the exception of Henry King. Here we go. Henry King, Chris Lashbrook, Charlie Milliken all staying out, taking advantage at this stage.
Yeah, if you're running at the back of the field, yeah, why not? That's an opportunity to give something a shot. on that one because you never know. You know, cautions, precautions as well too, and there could be an opportunity for them to go in later with track position. It's just worthwhile if you're running at the back of the field. Go, why not?
Now, this is an incredibly long pit stop here at Spa, because you look at where the pits actually are from where the pit entry is. Those drivers have gone a full pit length, essentially, to get to their bays here at the bottom of the hill. It's a very, very long pit stop, and you can see that by the fact that our timer for pit stops down the bottom usually will just kick drivers off that list as they get to a minute, because we've never seen at any other track a pit stop that takes over a minute to get through, but we've got them coming out of the pits now, and they're coming out with a minute 20, a minute 25 up the sleeve. So we're going to have to do something about that before the next round of pit stops. I tell you,
you can change it. You can change it if you want.
We will, absolutely.
Yeah, but we're just not used to it. As you mentioned, I'm not used to changing it. I would have left it to default.
You would usually think of, because when was the last time we saw a pit stop take a minute 20? There we go.
Yeah, not even Imola takes that amount of time as well too, and that's on a long pit stop.
Let's go back and see if we can catch all of the action that kicked us off with this safety car here, and see just where it all went wrong. And we might have to go back as far as well. This is probably where you can see Reese already, the damage that he's managed to limp that thing home with. So this is where it's all started. Go back a little further and keep going, Reese here. Just a big contact there from car number 18. That's Lee Caldoulis, and that's put Reese into the wall. And there's absolutely rattled the teeth inside that Acura, I'm sure. And then further up, just around the corner, Josh Dano finally taking out, gets a nudge there from the bunker, manages to recover it. And as he's trying to re-enter the track, comes back on. Notice he then gets another nudge and just finds himself pushed further wide. Nathan Bowman, meanwhile, in the middle of this, gets spun.
Yeah, that's a hard leg.
Honestly, could have been worse.
No, I think there he gets a hard leg, because I know he had big damage. Yeah.
So that's what's happening. That's Mick Polly coming around the corner and absolutely collecting poor old Nathan Bowman. Let's see where Polly's come from in all of that. I don't know quite how he ended up there, honestly. Just trying to find where he's come from. We'll go back and we'll check that out in just a moment. Right now, still under safety car conditions. Let's see if we can track this down. This is obviously after that incident. We'll go back a little further.
Probably just run from like one.
Oh, there it is. There's the contact. There's actually a contact from it. Looked like one of the ADHD entrance. Patrick Frame, maybe, that came past him, or could have been actually Chris Latchbrook. I think that has come past and given him a nudge. But
on those turns as well too.
Huge amounts. That's right. Back left here in the 989 car. Goes through, and then he gets up there, and then he gets a nudge there.
Yeah. Like, the only place you can hit is the poor driver that's sitting there, right, on the
of all the places. Nathan Bowman just
Nathan Bowman's sitting there just waiting for all his cars to go over. He's like, I'm okay, I've got to wait for these cars so I can turn it around and get back into the race, and then of course bang, he gets hit.
That was a nightmare.
It's just unfortunate situations that, I mean, nothing he could do.
No.
They got turned. The same thing as well too with Reese. I mean, he got bumped, he got sent out to the kitty litter, nothing he could do.
No, just nowhere to go.
I think that's so the driver's taking a little bit too eager there. A lot of three-wide action that doesn't need to necessarily occur on the lap one. You can't tell these drivers but to not race, because they're inevitably always going to do that.
Yeah, who's out there telling these guys not to race? Certainly not me, because they're not going to listen anyway. We head on down
That's
the hill.
The top three up 21, 29, 29 because they stayed out.
Kyle Ridley had a cracker of a start.
Kyle Ridley had a cracker of a pit stop as well too. He's in the lead at the moment.
Yeah, an effective lead, right? Ridley is the first of the cars that has actually made their pit stop. The problem is, of course, that he's not going to have a huge amount of gap between himself and Aaron Schotter because of the safety car. So he's going to have to work for it. You know, it's not an easy place to be in an effective lead on a safety car restart. He's going to have to keep an eye on King, Lashbrook and Milliken ahead and make sure that he gets the jump with them. That's going to be really tough.
More importantly, Jeremy Washington survived all that shenanigans on the first lap.
He did too and lost one spot.
Yeah,
P9.
he lost one spot.
How
Danny
on
P
earth did
dropped
he
a
make it
couple of
through?
places as well too. I'm not quite sure if Danny P was just taking it easy on that first lap there and trying to avoid some of that carnage.
Jeremy Washington. Now does he avoid all of this? Brown goes inside the weight field and really just
there's more accidents up here.
and then lost a couple of spots in there, but stays tight. And gets away with it.
That's just a great driver and head on his shoulders. The driver awareness there from Jeremy Washington all the time, because you got to remember the top 9 consecutive finishes. That also means from reverse grid, so he's used to this. He knows how to deal with feature race, reverse grid, lap 1 shenanigans, and just manages to keep his head clear. And we've seen in the past too, when himself and Jeremy Washington and the other drivers happen to get spun or turned and stuff like that, and early lap 1 incidents, they fight their way back up through the field. They still get themselves in the top 10.
Yeah, it's incredibly impressive racecraft. It really is. And that's what you see there from Washington. That's why he's leading the championship. You know, he's not seeing those opportunities as, I can push at 110% here and make up a couple of spots in amongst carnage. He's actually just driving really smart, you know, and making his way through without copying any damage, without finding himself too far out of position, as we get confirmation from race control.
Yeah, okay, safety car's coming. It's kind of like he's just like, I know there's going to be shenanigans, so I'm just going to put my car in the safest place possible, if there is the safest place possible, but I'm just going to be extra aware and try not to have 4 cars on the side of me and stuff like that, if you can avoid it, and then just, you know, let itself all pan out, and then, you know, do what he does best and pedal to the metal.
Yeah, we'll have to see how he goes here, though. Look, this is going to be a really interesting restart, because, of course, that final turn is so slow and so tight. It's a huge opportunity for King to make a jump, but Ridley's going to have to put some real work in here if he wants to stay with them. Being in, you know, 3rd, 4th, 5th on the way out of that chicane, you're going to have everyone bunching up behind you. Let's keep a close eye on it as they make their way down once again.
But remember, Ridley will be heavier with fuel.
He will be.
I mean, we have
true.
only had a couple of laps, so it's not a great difference. You're not going to see a huge thing, but we'll see. We'll find out at the end of the day. Henry, King, Chris, and Charlie, the top 3 did not come down a pit road.
There we go. Once again, those laps around Spa behind the safety car are so long. You can see the field starting to spread out already, with gaps opening up from the drivers that just don't quite get the jump on their way out of that chicane. We go back to the front though, and Henry King has absolutely made the most of the clean air in front of him. Chris Lashbrook right on his tail as Charlie Milliken and Kyle Ridley follow them up the hill, Eau Rouge into Radion. And we go as quickly as they possibly can at this point down the back straight, trying to open up that gap to Milliken. Ridley is tucked right in behind as he looks to the inside. Here comes Kyle Ridley. He's looking for a move immediately. He doesn't want to waste any time here. He's going to find himself on the outside for the exit. We've got 4 wide almost behind them. Contact there. Jeremy Washington, he survives it, but just a little bit of argy-bargy. We'll just keep an eye on that in the background, make sure that he's okay. Kyle Ridley, though, has made his way through, as has Chris Lashbrook, finds himself in the lead of this race right now. Keep your eye on James Sahani, Jeremy Washington, though, side by side as the racing continues. These guys going through 3, 4, 5 corners now, neck and neck. But it looks as though Washington might just have the run on him down the hill. Jeremy Washington desperate to get those couple of positions back that he's lost already.
I think he's desperate to clear this big fighting as well too, if he can. But no,
there's
he's got contact. He got
Salhani.
tagged. He's got to keep it straight.
Beautiful. Oh
He's
no,
gonna hit the
Washington into the wall. Thankfully, low speed. that's going to cost him a huge number of positions. The saving grace here, there goes the front bar. It detaches. They might be carrying it with him for a
he was
little
one of
while.
those drivers that went down a pit road as well too. So early days in this race, I suggest for Jeremy to get down there and get those repairs chipped out there and fight his way back up through the field here now, which is what he's done in the past. That'll be his target. Top 10 now. That's very interesting. I think he was being very cautious to not put up too much of a fight, but I think at that point when he saw there was a gaggle of about 4 cars behind him, he was like, I can't afford to let them all get past me. And at that point, they'll get elbows out, those other drivers, for sure. As James Bunker's getting his elbows out there with the James & James. It's not a law firm. This is the MC Motorsport.
Aaron Schotter gets past James Bunker. Right behind him, James Lawrence in the other McLaren. He's going to look to do the same as they make their way through turn 1. That Vegemite livery doing a lot of the heavy lifting in helping us spot Bunker in the crowd here once again tonight. It's a beautiful run down the hill here at Spa before we get to Eau Rouge, getting up into the mid 200k an hour range as you make your way up the hill, and you can see the sparks flying as the cars bottom out through that compression stage of the climb. And down the front straight, back straight, side straight. I don't know which straight to call this here at Spa. It's such a long track, Biggles. But
Camel Straight.
Camel Straight it is, and it's a tricky one because your positioning as you make the run up out of Eau Rouge is critical to having the speed at the end of that straight to actually make a move. If you don't get that right, then you can absolutely kiss your chances of making an overtake under braking.
Carl's just made a move on Henry King up into P2. He said Carl was going to get the move on. He certainly did.
He's going to be chasing down Chris Lashbrook now. So
As
something to keep an eye on.
Lipsky has gone off the track as well too, and that's out of the bus stop. It looks like it's maybe even... No, it's not out of the bus stop. It's still like home.
So keep your eye here. This battle continues with James Bunker, James Lawrence, both on the tail of Aaron Schotter in the Mercedes. And, right now, the battle for P5, almost the battle for P3, I suppose, but Henry King fairly comfortable up there behind Kyle Ridley. Further back, though, an absolute gaggle of cars. James Salhani and Josh Benno caught up in amongst this as well. So Dean Jacobson out in front of them. Salhani makes the move past Jacobson. Can Benno go with him? It looks like we'll get it done here. Jacobson runs wide. We've seen him run wide in that corner a couple of times tonight, and it is one that once you start to float out there, it's very hard to pull back in from. Further up from this battle, though, Josh Harris and Mitch Curry, the two stalwarts of the MC Motorsport League, are going to be side by side in the Mustangs. Harris pretty wisely backs it out. He doesn't want to make contact here. Can he get a little bit of a reversal on the exit, though? Curry's got the drive. Harris can't, and Cooper now threatening to take the position away from Josh Harris as they make their way down the main straight. We're only on to lap 6 here, but plenty of action. The big call-outs, if you're just joining us and you want the update, Reese Wakefield having a huge accident early on. That safety car coming out has slowed us right down, but he's found himself back up into 23rd. Jeremy Washington getting tagged into the fence, now finds himself back in 31st. So the important thing for him right now, it may not be that top 5 finish. This may in fact end up being his first finish outside the top 5. But the important thing for him right now is to try and get back in touch with Reese Wakefield and just minimise that impact as much as he can on the championship standings.
Yeah, exactly. It was looking kind of okay from the start there when Reese Wakefield went off into the got pushed off into the fence there, and Jeremy Washington later on getting a similar situation occurred to him. He didn't go on pit road for any of that damage, so he's elected to just stay out there with the fight, and he's got Luke Patton and Ryan Palmer up the road from him. But more importantly, it's up to where all that action is up there of Aaron Schotter, Charlie, and that's Charlie has yet to make a pit stop. Henry King, that's going to affect them a little bit later on in this race. There's no way I don't think they can stretch it to the end. So, but and again, you can be waiting for that all-important, perhaps second safety car.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens if we do get another safety car. I do wonder whether a second pit stop is required around here. It's always on the borderline at this race distance as to whether or not these drivers are going to make it on a single stop strategy. And tonight, with Spa being such a high-speed track, it means that fuel usage is going to be through the roof.
Yeah, I doubt they can do it.
A single stopper is a big ask. And the fact that most of these cars have made a stop on lap 1, I mean, that's barely going to make a difference. I know you're going to be saving a bit of fuel under the safety car, but it's still a long, long way to go here at Spa.
We've been wrong, but haven't we sometimes
all the time.
in kind of fuel mileage guessing, and we're like, oh, they've got to be running on vapors. Some of the drivers go on a pit road, and then other drivers that finish the race going, oh yeah, I had another lap or two in the tank there for it, and some drivers are like, oh no, that was it. This is the last lap I had. It just depends on how to drive.
Absolutely does.
The early stages of this race right now are the crucial fuel-saving moments that we don't necessarily catch because we're capturing all the actual race action. But those drivers that perhaps have pitted early, they're just sitting there sticking to their own delta, and then know that coming to play later on in the race when other people take pit stops.
100%. Meanwhile, out in front, Kyle Ridley still on the tail of Chris Lashbrook. Hard to say whether Ridley is trying to make a pass and just hasn't found the right time to get this done, or if he's actually struggling to find a way through at the moment. I mean, obviously sitting behind Lashbrook's going to be saving him a little bit of fuel, so he might be playing into that strategy, but you can see Henry King has caught up to the two out in front, and so if Ridley doesn't get a move on, he's going to get caught up in amongst all of this. That, of course, risks losing a couple more positions or even getting tangled up in another incident. So Ridley will be thinking pretty hard here as to what he wants to do.
He's reading the back wing there of Chris Lashbrook, which is basically like, follow me on Lost 2. So perhaps that situation, Carl's going, well, I know where I am. I'm somewhere in Belgium, Chris. So lead me to the checkered flag, please.
This is pretty well the view that Kyle Ridley is working with right now. Nothing but Mustang tail lights at the moment, but he is sticking to the back like the very best view you can think of. What he does have to keep an eye on, though, of course, right there, the Lamborghini of Henry King, looking menacing. I know, where's the Jaws music?
I know, I've been meaning to. You just put that in my screen there. I'm going to call it him. Not really improvise about this. Just thank you for tuning in, everybody. Chat's a little quiet. Where's the usual suspects out there? The fan club, of course. We did see Courtney out there before, and Tyson. Where's the Danny P supporters? Danny P's in P10, where he started this reverse grid from his race win.
Yeah, which is not a bad thing for him at all. At this stage, the front runner's well down the pack. Keep your eye, of course, on Josh Benno as well, who's in 16th. So that's going to make a big difference in the points total to this race. I don't know about Danny P's chances of getting onto the podium, but Josh Benno is certainly looking like he could, and again, very early days here in this 24 lapper, but he could actually benefit in a big way from all of that early carnage.
Oh, if they can, Danny P and Josh get on the podium, and both of, let's say, Jeremy Washington there and Reese Wakefield are outside the top 15, that's a good chunk of points that they can take. And perhaps throw a spanner in the mix. Just keep him on the outside looking in on that championship trophy.
Reese Wakefield passes his teammate Patrick Frame, who drops in behind to pick up the slipstream. So Wakefield's starting to make his way back up through the pack after that very early crash.
And Jeremy Washington too is in a bit of a fight with Ronald Long there, and Willie in the P26 place. So he's got to be cautious. These drivers like Jeremy Washington knows that I'm surprised with the damage that he had in that car. He's still managing to pull down 2:19 second laps. Leaders are doing in the 2:18s, but you gotta say, he's in traffic, he's at the back there, and he's probably got a weird car. He's doing a pretty good job.
That he is. It's interesting though, right? It is hard to know whether that damage has been reflected from Jeremy's end or not. We've seen before, of course,
or fuel saving as well too. We don't know if they're doing that because remember those drivers tend to go very deep into these races, or don't even take a pit stop when we're just sitting there up there going, they gotta be taking a pit stop now because they gotta be running on vapors. And then of course we speak to them on the podium later and they go, no, we're okay.
6 litres, 7 litres, we're fine. No problem. Got some leftover burnouts, that's the important thing. Yeah. Front of the field here, Ridley right on the tail of Lashbrook as they come down the final straight. Milliken doing the same to Henry King behind. They're going 2 by 2. Ridley looking up the inside. He's got the nose in. Is it going to be enough? They rub panels. Ridley has to leave room here. But he's going to find himself on the inside in the run to turn 1.
Yeah, that's what you need to do. It's a sauce.
Here they come, Ridley ahead as they make their way across one of the many start lines here at Spa. Ridley on the inside. He's going to have it through turn 1. Can he get the drive down towards Eau Rouge? He does.
No. He compromised the exit, wouldn't he? And
he's held on to it for now.
I can't miss it, but I think it's going to lose that place at Henry King. Yeah, he did. Because he was too busy. I have to say, he was too busy. Chris was too busy fighting Kyle
Ridley,
and forgot the fact that Henry King was just right ready to pounce.
That's cost Lashbrook a couple of positions. Ridley up into first place. And in the background, of course, more jockeying for position as the drivers move left to right, just looking for the best line that they can find.
Oh, Henry's thinking he wants a twofer here. It's just key. And that's the thing too as well, that you'll see from experienced drivers. You got to be willing to give up that place. Like if I was Chris, I'd be willing to just let Carl through there, but right on his bumper bar, so you got a good exit.
Oh, big move for Josh Harris. He's gone sideways.
Yes, Josh is in. Off.
Trying to inspect the infield. That's going to cost him a few positions, but he'll get up and running as quickly as he can. Look at this, Reese Wakefield, a massive dive up the inside of Dean Jacobson's Porsche. He'll find himself back on the outside, but Jacobson slots in behind, and Wakefield picks up another position up into P16. Keep your eye on Jeremy Washington up into P26, so he's finally making his way up the tower on the left of screen. Spent a lot of time, though, off the bottom of it. Further back,
yeah, potentially he's also going to... Yeah, potentially as well, too. He's going to know that there's probably 3 drivers who are going to be pitting. So he'll get another 3 positions further up, pending those other pit stops. So he'll be looking around that P13 place if it was to finish right now. 16 laps is a long time to go.
Yeah, they're very, very long laps. 2 minutes 20 per lap here. So he's got plenty of time up his sleeve. The question is going to be if he does have pace, though. The damage on that car, if what we're seeing is accurately reflected, then the damage on that car is going to be slowing him down lap after lap after lap. And I am genuinely surprised that he's not come in to get that repaired. That said,
95 gets a drive-through penalty. Who was that? I haven't seen 95 in the turning time. Oh, sorry, Adrian Williams goes in. So that Reese Wakefield will get another place actually from that one. So will Joshua Bernard. Aiden Williams got 7
keep an eye on that. Aiden Williams in 13th right now. We were talking earlier about just how long the pit bay here is, and I suspect that's probably why Washington hasn't gone in to get it repaired, is that he knows he's going to lose a minute and a half. That's a half lap for going through pits. And indeed, that's about to happen to Aiden Williams with that drive-through. That is a huge penalty.
From the sub-penthouse to the outhouse right now, mate, with that one, because he's going to drop way down the field.
He absolutely will, and a whole lot of movement here through the pack. Ryan Palmer getting caught up in it here as well. Everyone getting themselves sorted out before Eau Rouge, but I'm not quite sure how they've managed to do it. Ronald Long's just copped a drive-through as well for his earlier contact with Chris Lashbrook. So somehow Lashbrook
can
getting
you cross
away
your
with
toes there, Courtney, can you? I can't cross my toes.
I can cross my big toe over my my second toe, but that's it. That's all I can do.
Well, that's crossing toes.
This mess. Mick Polly somehow coming out ahead of it, but these guys are going 2, 3, 4 wide. There it is. Dean Powell gets spun into the barrier. Something had to give. Jeremy Washington makes through. I've just seen a puff of smoke. Is that Mick Polly popping his motor? If I'm not mistaken, I think Polly's just done his motor. Mick Polly, his car is
looks like
toast.
Retiring it, yeah. Now, it's off the racing line, so that might be okay to not call caution. I didn't see too much debris. Yeah, Jeremy Washington was very, very lucky. He was on the back of all that. And believe it or not, he's only 2 places away from Danny P now. Reese Wakefield's up in P12. That's his next target.
What an interesting little session that was. This is where it's all kicked off. Let's go back and take a look from, again, watching Jeremy Washington. This is from a little further back, I'm sorry. Let's go a little further forward in the session.
Behind all this and has to navigate his way through. Look at that!
There's Polly just popping the motor. Just contact everywhere. Nathan Bowman and Jeremy Washington find themselves out in front of the pack. And sure enough, safety car call
Oh, okay. So, Henry King's gone in. Chris and Charlie, those drivers did not go in. Have seized an opportunity immediately. And
Washington's getting those repairs done. He has to do it at this point.
I think so. Yeah. I think. Now, was that caution called after some of those drivers did already pass the pit lane?
Oh, I think it was called a little earlier while we were watching the replay there.
Okay, so Washington will get those repairs chipped out. Willie, Luke, but more importantly, Reese did not come in for potentially any damage he had. I don't think Danny P had any damage. We're not quite sure how many of the other drivers had damage because there's probably a few little fender benders and things like that could be chipped out. But then again, that's just a little bit of time for optionals repairs they would have in pit road. I'm not even a driver, so I'm just giving you this perspective out there for non-drivers, that drivers will have these little options before they come to pit road to say, hey, pit crew, try to fix this, try to fix that. How much time is it going to cost me? And then they'll make that choice from there. Sometimes it'll be too much time, so they'll say, no, I'll try to bear with how damaged the car is. Sometimes it could be like an extra few seconds. They'll go, yeah, all right, add it. We could fix it and the car feels better, great. But you don't know how the car feels, do you? Even if you chip away at some of those repairs until you get out there and you go, it still feels the same, but it cost me more time. You just don't know. It's a roll of dough.
I'm going to go back and see if we can
Unless you can get it all fixed.
What happened here to Mick Foley? So he's straightened the car up.
There's contact with the steering wheel, but I'm looking.
And there goes the motor.
Yeah.
I actually think what's happened there, because you notice he was stuck in first gear. Now, I think he might have had potentially a hardware failure, but he's been getting the nudge from behind.
He's trying to get it in second instead of put it in neutral. Yeah.
Well, I think he's been stuck in first for whatever reason. I'm not sure why, but he's found himself stuck in first. But he's been getting nudged by, I think it was Ryan Palmer behind him in the ADHD entry, and that's actually going to have over-revved the engine. Just from being pushed beyond the limits while in first
gear. He didn't step smoke, right? But he could have blown up. I mean, not really blown up, but that's definitely going to be a gearbox issue.
Possible. I've never seen, unless iRacing has added something new, I am not aware of gearboxes being able to just go like that. Clutches maybe, but
yeah, clutches have definitely gone.
In a GT3 that shouldn't be an issue. It's a sequential, so. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we'll have to do a bit of investigation into that one. I don't see Mick Polly in the Discord anywhere, so we're not going to be able to ask him directly. But if anyone does have a bit of a line into the Southern Cross Racing comms booth, we'd love to know just what on earth has happened to Polly's Porsche.
Polly's Porsche, I love it.
We'll go and we'll have
if Polly's Porsche had a problem, how many problems could Polly's Porsche push?
Yeah. Let's take a look from the
I'm improvising. Yeah.
From the cockpit of Mick Polly's car. The big dive.
Wow!
Just misses Dylan Thomas there.
Didn't break it. He's still in second here. Only in second. Revving out. Revving, still in second. Yeah, see that?
Then drops back to first.
And then drops to first to see if maybe because he's trying to go to third, wouldn't go to third, drops it to first. That's
and
probably
there goes the motor.
The cause of all the carnage. Yeah, because he couldn't stop it also in time. But yeah, you saw that. Like, it was in second, could not.
The second down to first is.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to get it going again once he straightened up and start to accelerate again, but couldn't get it back out of first. So, look, maybe an unfortunate hardware issue, and I really do. I do think Ryan Palmer's probably given him enough of a push along that it's over-revved the motor, and that's what's popped it. Because if nothing else, then bouncing off the limiter in first gear, it's not going to blow your engine up at that point.
No, does it?
Well, I mean, this is what rev limiters are for, right?
Well, yeah, but it depends on the car too, doesn't it? Because we do it in the,
I suppose.
In the trucks, in the NASCAR trucks and stuff like that, you'll cook your engine big time if you over-rev it that much.
We might go back and have one more look. Something that I am curious to see is whether Mick Polly had any temperature issues going on with the Porsche at that point.
You won't see the temps, unfortunately, spectators, but Won't show you
nothing,
temps.
nothing lighting up there, is there? No.
No, it doesn't show you the temps.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
We only get as spectators just the gears, the revs, the speed, and that's it. We don't get temps, we don't get speed, we don't get the tyres, like how long the tyres are, only the type they're on. That's just so that, of course, other teams can't go. I'm watching the broadcast and then relay the information back to their drivers. But they should still give us the information, I think, but allow us as broadcasters to whether or not we want to share that to the public. And we could share it, like, 5 laps later, couldn't we, when it doesn't
Or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Safety car still making its way around. This is a great thing about, of course, a safety car lap of Spa. There's plenty of time to go back and really take a deep look at some of these issues. So this is on board.
Yeah. Contact.
Can you see?
Contact
yeah,
there.
Palmer's absolutely pushing along, and he's just over-revved the motor for pole. Not intentionally, of course. From Palmer, he got a nudge from Nathan Bowman as well. So I think, Palmer pushing at the back of Polly's Porsche. Say that 3 times fast.
Polly's pushing the back of Palmer's Porsche.
But then I think perhaps even the nudge from Bowman's been just enough to push it beyond the limits. We see the wave around for Aaron Gilbert from Team Jinx Shifters, who'll go past the safety car.
Tune in for another episode of Beyond the Limits.
Kyle Ridley, he will be absolutely cheering right now. The longer that he can spend on a safety car, the more fuel he is saving, the better his chances of making it to the end with that pit stop under the first safety car.
That's true, isn't it? Because you've got to go back to that recap of that situation. You'd have to go down to Chris in P19th place. That's boxed on lap 10. Henry King behind him. So the rest of those drivers from those positions up, 18th up, they've not gone down to that extra pit road again. So they have to make it go to the end.
Well, yeah, that's the plan at this point for him, isn't it?
Yep. They all boxed on lap 1, as you've mentioned. Everybody's been in the pit road at least once, but those top 18 drivers have been there on lap 1.
And there shouldn't be any issue with fuel. Obviously we start with the fixed setup here. We do start with a lower fuel load on the grid, but being able to come in under a safety car, you can absolutely fill it to the brim, and a GT3 will run for, give or take, about an hour at full noise, which is more
Did you drive
than enough.
from Cairns to Melbourne?
Look, if the road's open enough, we could give it a crack. I don't know about the distance though. Keith Logan joins us in the chat. G'day Keith, welcome to it. Very unfortunate for Nick Polly. The engine blowing, we still don't know why he couldn't get it out of first gear. But something's gone very, very wrong inside that Porsche. And unfortunately Nick Polly unable to correct it before the engine has let go.
Yeah, we'd love Mick Polly to chime in there and give us that feedback there into the YouTube chat if you can. It'd be great. But we're about to go green flag racing again with, give or take, 12 laps to go. Kyle Ridley in the lead. He got those overtakes done. Those other drivers taking that early pit stop on lap 1. Let's see if we can maintain that for the SL Motorsport entry.
So we make our way around to start lap 13. Plenty of time spent behind the safety car here tonight. These drivers will be itching to get going once more. And Ridley out in front. We see Trev Mortimer coming in to have some repair work done. As Ridley makes his way up Eau Rouge and through Radion. James Bunker right on his tail, Aaron Schotter behind him. Keep your eye though on Reese Wakefield now up into P9. Jeremy Washington still back in 22nd, so that is going to have an absolute impact on the championship points if Washington can't get moving further through the field. Dylan Thomas.
And his first non-top 10 finish as well.
Absolutely would be. Dylan Thomas gets past Ryan Palmer and now tries to make a move on Nathan Bowman ahead. Bowman though too strong out of the corners as they come over the crest and start to descend once more towards Bouillon in just a couple of turns time. I'm sure there's a better way to pronounce that, but I've yet to find it. Yeah, I know.
I'll put on say.
Yeah, I need to put on more of a French accent perhaps. Keep your eye on Danny P there, throwing the car around, trying to find a way past Josh Harris's Mustang. And of course, Patrick
He's
Frame
trying to
just ahead.
minimise the gap to Reece Wakefield in that P2 in the championship as well too. Wants to catch him. But we get past Joshy first. That's not easy. Josh is up 11 places too. And then if he gets past Josh, he's got Patrick, who's doing a fantastic job. 19 positions game. Willie Blair's gone around off the track somewhere. That's dropped him back to P28, 29th.
So keeping an eye here on Josh Benno in P8. Reece Wakefield is right on his tail in 9th at the moment. And Benno is really hoping for some more points to move him further up towards contention for perhaps a P2. If Wakefield stays where he is now, much less get past Benno, then the only thing that Benno can look forward to from tonight is perhaps closing the gap to P1. Look, maybe staying in touch with Wakefield is not a terrible outcome, but I imagine that Benno was probably feeling a little more hopeful about his chances of gaining some distance, or closing the distance rather to Reece Wakefield, given that Wakefield did end up right down the back of the pack with that lap 1 incident. But as always, Reece Wakefield absolutely carving back up through the field. Go back to the
only
front,
thing
though.
that I am curious about is that if these drivers do not have the gas to go to the end, Chris Lashbrook, Henry King, Jeremy Washington, Dean Powell are going to be in the hot seat for a podium.
Yeah, I can't see it happening. Just the sheer
You just
volume of fuel.
the 18 drivers have not just have all made a mistake on the fuel calculations. I think you might be right.
Yeah,
It's
I
too
feel
many
like we're
drivers,
probably
isn't
okay.
it?
Look, ultimately, the quick math in my head, 24 laps at 2.5 minutes a lap. That's what, 48. That's pretty much bang on an hour of racing. If you're at full
James
race
gone
pace.
around too. James
Sahani.
Sahani, yep, he's gone off.
We'll see him just at the top of the hill there as the rest of the pack makes their way past. Is this going to be another safety car? Or is he just waiting it out? Let's see what's actually happened there.
Oh, there's contact there.
There's contact and just slides it sideways. So looks like he should be able to get moving again.
He's towed. They've got to get the car towed back to pit road.
There you go. Couldn't in the end. Maybe a bit more damage than we initially thought.
As Danny P's fighting Josh Harris up on the inside. Josh is on the outside. The Domains2U entrance is fighting that there with the Antique Motorsports 970. And I'll tell you what, Danny P's wanting to fight this one, isn't it? There's a bit of door banging going on. Perfectly okay. The GT3s, you're not going to have bits of carbon fibre or the front end plates flicking off all over the place. These cars can take a bit of a beating, and once again, Norman Bowman showing Danny P that he can follow me, and Norman Bowman's actually there at the moment. It's Josh Harris, the one that says, if you can follow me, I'm lost too.
Nathan Bowman just locking Danny P in behind Harris there. And, so really restricting Danny's ability to push on through. Meanwhile, in the background, Palmer and Thomas, the two Mustangs, forming a roadblock for Mirko behind them. Brad Cooper gets through though, makes his way past the Fishy Motorsports entry. Mirko still stuck behind as Cooper solidifies his position on the run up into Eau Rouge again. And really, you've got to get that move done before you start the hill climb, because there is no room to pass there. Dan Mirko just jumping out to the side. Dylan Thomas goes very, very defensive. He obviously lost some pace through Eau Rouge. Now, can Chris Lashbrook capitalise as well? He's going to have to just drop in behind for the moment. Plenty going on. Aiden Williams up the inside, makes contact with Dean Powell. Powell slides as Ronald Long comes through behind him. And Dean Powell, unfortunately, look, no real damage, but a long way off the track to recover. And he'll get rolling once again. Josh Bennett and Reece Wakefield remain locked in battle, P7, P8, as they continue to climb through the cars ahead. Kyle Ridley, he's got some gap for the moment, 3.6 seconds back to Josh Bennett right now. It's not a long way to defend over the next 9 or 10 laps here at Spa. Ridley's in a great position, but can he hold off this pack of cars behind him? That will be the question.
Oh, Reese has spun.
Wakefield into the wall. Just
Half
the
spin.
slightest of touches.
Yep. We'll drop it back into the clutches. This will be very, very good news for the likes of Jeremy Washington. It's back at P19.
That it will.
We might see those two coming together a little bit later on this race. That'll be interesting. But all that work Reese Westfield's got, just not having one of those feature races at the moment there for the Antique Motorsports. Second driver in the championship.
And there is Jeremy
driver
Washington
championship.
on the back of the group of cars that Reese is effectively heading up right now.
Exactly. That's something they're going to be on track side by side perhaps deeper into this race. 9 laps is a lot to go here at Spa.
Certainly is, as Dylan Thomas gives up the position to Washington now. He gets the drive down the straight. That said, Washington's on the outside, so he's going to want a little bit more space there before he makes the turn in. Thomas gets on the brakes. Washington has a clear run to the apex, and he sets his sight on Chris Lashbrook. You've got to think that Washington's looking at that timing chart and going, okay, Reese Wakefield, now only 2.5 seconds separating us. I can make that happen. We'll jump up front though, because Kyle Ridley, under enormous pressure from James Bunker, Ridley pushes him wide. That's Salhani's just taken the exit road. By the look of
Yeah,
things.
it's available.
He's just gotten well out of the way and is happy to just sit and let the traffic through. Salhani is well out of this race, and so doesn't want to cause any issues.
Belgian fans. Whoa,
Ryan Palmer having a big moment off the track there. And Washington picks up another spot as a result. Reese Wakefield, though. Here he comes around the outside, up the inside, right behind Brad Cooper. And make their way down towards Braun.
Oh, Chris goes around. Chris Lashbrook has a spin.
Backs into the wall hard.
Ow.
So that's going to do some damage. Don't know if he's going to be able to get that one rolling again.
I don't know how Jeremy Washington's managed to survive all that again as well too. He's only got Dan Micro between him and Reese Wakefield now. So that is coming sooner than expected.
They just keep removing themselves.
Yes, they do, don't they? They're like, okay, let's just let these two championship contenders go for it tooth and nail.
Somehow.
And I thought that was in about 2 laps or 3 laps they might catch each other. They've done it almost in 1 lap that I was speaking about. There's still 9 laps to go.
Yeah, I have no idea how on earth that's all happened. That was certainly a sequence of.
You had Ryan that was ahead of him. That's now gone off the track a little bit. Dean that was ahead of him that's gone off the track. I think as well too there was James that was ahead of him that went off track. So
Dean Power in all sorts of trouble.
Wakefield's managed to get past Brad Cooper, so he's now managed to separate another. He's actually got his teammate there to separate him.
Dean Power out of Eau Rouge, massive collision with the barriers. He's gotten it all sorts of wrong, and that car is in a world of hurt.
It'll buff out Dean, don't worry, mate. I'll get down there and buff it. I'll get down there and get my panel beating equipment out there and fix it up for you, mate. Dean's take care of Dean's.
Dan Mirko watching the rear view mirror. Jeremy Washington looking ahead to see Reese Wakefield just topping out of Eau Rouge. We've had an incident between Ron Long and Luke Patton. That's further back in the field, so that's not going to affect the run here. This is going to end up a much closer finish than we were perhaps anticipating, Biggles.
Yeah, Jeremy Washington now about 1.5 seconds away from Reese Wakefield.
Take a look back up front though, because have a look at this 3-way battle for the lead. Ridley's still holding in there, but Bunker all over him, and Aaron Schotter now joining the party. A 3-way battle for the lead. This is your current podium. You've got plenty going on right behind them, of course, though, with Lee Caldulis, Mitch Curry, and Josh Benno all mixing up. Now, Benno will be cheering because he's managed to just acquire some more distance to Reese Wakefield, courtesy of Wakefield running wide and into the wall. Just a couple of turns from where they are right now, in fact. And so it'll work out well for Benno in terms of overall championship standings if he can hang in there and if the positions stay vaguely similar to what they are right now. Ridley's going to be under enormous pressure here. He's going to have to go very, very defensive because Bunker is closing that gap down to almost 1/10 of a second. There's nothing in this as they make their way around the fastest corners on the track short of Eau Rouge. And we're coming down towards that final chicane. Ridley's going to hold the middle of the track and stay very, very defensive. Bunker just content to sit in behind for the moment. He knows he's still got 7 laps to get this move done if he does want to take P1. I don't think any of these front 3 drivers are too keen on finding themselves in a wall, as they've seen so much of here tonight in race number 2.
Ball comes out and bites you here in Spa if you don't get it all right, actually. If you get it all pearl-shaped. Patrick and Josh Harris very close together with
side as
Bowman.
well.
Yeah. Ooh.
Plenty of
this
debris
could
on
be
the
a-
track here. You can see it.
Alex to
front of
stay
shot.
behind. Oh yeah, you need to get the street sweepers out of that one.
Meanwhile, Reece Wakefield, he's now got 3 cars ahead of him that are going to be blocking his advance. Jeremy Washington still, though, 1.4 back, so Washington will be hoping...
Oh, and Josh Beno gets a penalty for a drive-through, so he's currently running in P6. That's going to
drop
hurt him
all the
big
way
time.
back. Absolutely.
Yep. And
See,
actually,
Josh
speaking of
Bennett's
that, Josh has
taken-
actually gone off. Oh, has he taken it?
He's taken the exit road there, or something has happened.
Mitch Curry's off.
What is going on
I think they've
back
come
here?
together. I think he's come together with Mitch Curry.
Go back and take a look at that in just a moment. Back out in front, Kyle Ridley somehow holding James Bunker at bay. The 2 McLarens locked in this and have been for a number of laps now, ever since we got underway again from safety car. Let's see if we can find out just what's happened with Mitch Curry there.
Yeah, I saw Mitch Curry going off the track, and then Joshua going off track. So there's Mitch.
But Curry's ended up
But I think
backwards
before they
here.
might have come together. Oh, there's
One of the ADHD cars in the background, perhaps. Some interesting moments occurring right throughout. Got Harris, Bowman and Wakefield here. Brad Cooper just off the tail. Jeremy Washington now closing the gap. Only about a second behind Wakefield at this point, so ever closer.
Yeah.
And with every move that Washington makes, it reduces the impact of the points difference in the championship.
Yeah, Mitch had a spun, and then Joshua had to go off the track a little bit to avoid him. That's what the situation was when I look back at that one. But of course, live pitches is where it's all at. With
Patrick Frame goes around.
Patrick going off, facing the wrong direction to get off the racing line and the bus stop chicane. You can check in, my friend. Sometimes you can never leave.
The rejoin there, really, really difficult one, but gets it underway reasonably safely. Josh Harris now finds himself with a bit of clear air ahead. But Nathan Bowman, a great exit out of that corner, can't quite get there, so he's going to tuck in behind Harris again. And Wakefield, not quite on the back of the 2, but he'll be able to stick with them reasonably comfortably as they make their way up the hill once more. Keep your eye on the background though, because that is Jeremy Washington. He finds himself now, about 0.7 behind Reece Wakefield. So this is absolutely
Yeah, with
costing
the
Wakefield
attrition that's
distance.
happening in this race right now, I mean, he knows he's going to get a couple of places handed to him as long as he can stay out of the wars. Because there's so many battles up the road from him that could very much inevitably turn into somebody going off. Either Kitty Leher, who'll be still in that position away.
Josh Beno has served his drive-through penalty, dropping from 6th to 22nd. It's a brutal pit lane here at Spa.
Well, it's brutal if the eyes of the stewards see that you've done something wrong. So Reece
comes
Wakefield now
Wakefield.
on the inside there of Josh Harris.
Gets it done through Pullen. Just barely, although Harris isn't going to give it up easily. He's going to push
And
it
then
all the way
Washington's
down.
watching all that in the background as well too, going, I see you, Mr. Reece Wakefield, and I'm coming, my friend. This
Harris
championship
doing
is not going to be handed to you that easy.
No, absolutely not. Wakefield's through. That gives him some clean air ahead to Nathan Bowman, so he'll be looking to leave Washington behind here if he can. At the moment, though, only 7/10 separating them, and only 2 cars in Josh Harris and Brad Cooper.
Yeah, Keith went to his head pit lane investigations earlier to ask what happened to Nick, but Keith haven't heard anything, my friend, so maybe got caught in the corporate suite and he's downing a couple of
It's
crown
the free
lagers.
beers. It's the free beers. Gets you every time. Washington takes a huge look up the inside of Cooper. but no room there because Cooper in turn is looking for a way past Josh Harris. Reese Wakefield meanwhile starts to extend that gap. Now at this point Washington doesn't need to worry too much because it's not about time difference, it's about points difference. So as long as he can get past Cooper and Harris, there's virtually no impact to the points differential in the championship. And even if they stay separated by 2 cars, again, I don't think Washington's going to be incredibly concerned. He's not going to love it, but this is certainly looking a lot better for Jeremy Washington's title defence than it was just 10 laps ago.
And you do have to remember if some of these drivers are, you know, getting a little bit on vapors off the road there, you know, Jeremy Washington shouldn't be on vapors, and he's the only driver inside that top 12 that's taking the pit stopper to perhaps fix that damage, but he would have taken on gasoline as well too, so he can probably just absolutely burn all the fuel whatever he has that may be extra in reserve. We'll see how that pans out because he's got Josh Harris and Brad Cooper up the road for him to get past.
And this is the thing, right? Like, they've saved a huge amount of fuel under safety car, you would think, but the laps are so long that it's still fairly relative. Like 2 laps of fuel under safety car is still 2 laps of fuel around Spa. You're still spending 4 minutes behind a safety car driving a lap here. So although you're saving it compared to race pace, you're still going to be chewing through it. I do wonder how many of these drivers were, you know, clutch in, engine off down some of these hills. Or is it perhaps not quite that pressing a need?
Well, I would say you do it anyway because
Well, you don't want to be
under a
caught
safety
out by
car,
it, do
there's
you?
no overtaking anyway, so you can just, you know, I mean, especially if you get up the hill here in Spa, once you're halfway through the circuit, then it's just coasting all the way down, really, essentially, isn't it? From Lacombe downwards is all practically downhill until you get down to the bottom there in La Source, and then you get that uphill climb, which is only the first sector. So, yeah, you could save a lot of fuel by turning your engine off and just letting it coast under caution, that is. Also, the race pace.
Yeah, not ideal under race pace. Washington almost getting the drive there to get up the inside of Cooper. He's going to have to be careful because Mitch Curry is right on his tail here as well. Washington cannot afford to drop another position. Reese Wakefield almost 2 seconds off into the distance now. Here comes Curry looking up the inside. Washington but just as late on the brake, and Curry tucks back in behind. So Washington needs to be careful. It's not about track time, it's about track position. And Wakefield now is right on the tail of Nathan Bowman as they make their way up Eau Rouge. If Wakefield extends by another position here, that's just a couple more points that Wakefield will recover in the championship battle with Jeremy Washington. And here he goes up the outside. Bowman's on the inside here. He's going to have to be late on the brakes. Tucked in behind. Wakefield's picked up another spot. So up into 8th he goes. Washington remains stuck in 12th as Cooper and Harris swap positions behind. And Washington nowhere to go. An absolute roadblock in front of him. This is going to start to get frustrating. Contact with Will. Brad Cooper puts the nose into the side of Washington's McLaren. Thankfully, no massive damage done. And Washington picks up a spot for it. Says, thank you very much. You probably owed me that one. Harris now needs to watch the rear view because Jeremy Washington's going to want to catch up as quickly as he can. Brad Cooper, Brian Palmer, Mitch Curry, all locked in as they make their way down Pillon.
Yeah, Jeremy's got to clear that because there's a big action there. Of course, of Ryan Palmer, Mitch Curry, Dan, Aiden Williams. They're all in the mix. So they're all scrubbing around for that 12th, 13th place at the moment. It's brewing everywhere. You got the big battle for P3 that's brewing right now with Aaron and Lee. Lee sitting up the inside there. Aaron can't defend too much through Blanchimont, and then you're going to have to make it stick somehow.
Well, that's going to be a slowdown there. Surely. Maybe just an off track, but Schotter went very, very wide in that runoff. Let's see if he has to give up any time down the straight here. Doesn't look like he might have got away with that one. Just barely. The battle on that final chicane. Once again, cars trying to make it through too wide. Somehow, Williams has managed to navigate around the outside of Mirko through there, and he'll pick up a spot as well.
Now a big battle for the top 4, really. All separated within a second.
Yeah, Ridley's having to do so much work here just to hold Bunker at bay. Look at this line. I've never seen anyone go that defensive. And now as Bunker moves across, Ridley's going to go with him. Has to leave space, but they're going to go side by side. This is dangerous. There's a little bit of rubbing. Look at Aaron Schotter. Says, thank you very much. I'll come on through there as well. He's going to find himself on the outside. Ridley loses one position. Can he hold off Schotter and maintain P2? Pushed him right to the outside of the track. Ridley's going to have the inside run. If he can get completely clear of Schotter and shut the door on him here, Schotter finds himself back on the inside. Big contact there. Ridley bounces off the side of the Mercedes. Lee Caldulis in the background needing to be very, very careful not to get caught up in anything that goes wrong. And there's Caldulis just pushing so hard to try and stay on the back. But unfortunately for Kyle Ridley, he drops from first down to third with just a couple of laps here to go.
Able to seize the opportunity and be back there. Lee Caldulis in no time flat, I would imagine as well. This is going to be huge for Danny P, because that battle up the front there is bringing him into a podium contender here. So
well, they've still got a couple of seconds to close, but I mean, you're right, they've still got, you know, 2 more laps to go after this. They are long laps. Let's see what Kyle Ridley can do and see if he can recover it. Courtney Platts chiming in the chat. Yeah, I was thinking you might be biting the nails a little bit too much there, Courtney, to be able to type anything. Keep an eye here though, because Ridley's looking for a way to recover and get himself one further step up the podium. Aaron Schotter will do everything he can to block that up. James Bunker, meanwhile, making the most of the air out in front, has started to extend now a good second ahead of these two battling for the minor positions. Further back, Aiden Williams on the outside. Dan Mirko getting caught up with him again. A little bit of contact there, perhaps. Nothing to write home about though. Mirko trying to get the power down, loses the rear end of the car. And that means Salhani will come through. They're side by side though as they come in. Of course, Salhani not battling for position here, so he should be trying to stay out of the way. Salhani is actually back in 24th and just trying desperately to unlap himself at this stage. Flashing the lights, he knows he should be able to get through there, but just can't make it work. Here comes Jeremy Washington. He's gotten past Josh Harris. Finally, so now only one spot the difference between himself and Reece Wakefield. Harris, though, not giving it up that easily, looks for the movers. Washington gets right over, pushes him very, very close to the edges of the track. Somehow, they both made it through there. Washington now back in control. Nathan Bowman, the only thing separating him from Reece Wakefield. Washington just needs to make it to the end. A lap and a half to go here. Further up towards the front, Aaron Schotter still under massive pressure from Kyle Ridley, who desperately wants to regather at least a P2 here. He's done such a great bit of driving to stay out in front for so many laps, and that one moment, it's cost him just a couple of positions. Can he regain and get P2 here tonight? That will be the question.
It's crunch time in Spa, and let's see how these gentlemen. Aaron Schotter still battling out there, see if we can get James up the road there and perhaps get that race win. Kyle Ridley still hanging in there for that P3 position. Danny P's about 2 seconds to change down the road there, so Danny P might be hoping there might be a little incident between those so he can steal that show. Well, he wouldn't want it between his teammate of Aaron Schotter. If anything, he'd like Aaron to take that lead away from James, which he may be able to do.
The nose in. Gets it done. Can he get the drive out of the corner? Schotter pushed wide. Ridley makes his way back up into the second. Fantastic braking move. Now Ridley goes defensive, forces Schotter out to the left. Schotter dives back to the right. That's an interesting move from Ridley. Schotter makes contact, nudges Ridley wide. They're going to be side by side, but Schotter's got the run. Here comes Danny P. Through all of that, he's caught up, and now Ridley finds himself in an Antic Motorsport sandwich. Not the place you want to be as a race driver. We'll still be chatting about what's going on here, I'm sure. This is the final lap now. Kyle Ridley's got it all to do. Danny P puts the pressure on. Kyle Ridley pressuring Aaron Schotter. James Bunker right now looking very, very comfortable and on track for a win. Now Ridley's got to be careful that he doesn't get squeezed here. They're looking 3 wide. Ridley finds his way to the outside. Can he get around Aaron Schotter? He does. Gets up the inside. Schotter drops in behind, a little bit of a nudge as Ridley parks it on the exit of the corner. Slows it through the apex. Ridley back in front. Schotter gets very, very loose. That's going to be an opportunity for Danny P.
No, he won't, because he doesn't want to interfere with his teammate there.
Don't want to make
I think
contact.
Schotter should have been a good blocker for him. It didn't quite pan out at the moment, because now Danny can't make a move really without risking taking his teammate out there. So there has to be some sort of team order there.
Establishes himself into P2. Can he hold it for just a few more corners? The gap's starting to open up just a little bit. Schotter may have cooked the tyres in trying to hold on there. Now Danny P, can he pick up another position and find himself on the podium in the end?
I don't think so, unless Aaron allows him that space through. If Aaron might lift and let him through, if he wants Danny P to maximise his points in the championship, to play the teammate game.
There's got to be a conversation going on, surely.
Aaron's hasn't got enough pace right now. I don't think he's a little bit too far back to do anything about Kyle. And I'm not quite sure if there's going to be any team orders at play here from the Antique Motorsports entry, but Danny P's the one that needs a little bit extra points, especially knowing that Reece Wakefield's back in P8, Jeremy Washington P10, especially the fact that of the biggest thing, Josh Benno, remember, P19. So will there be a lift here?
Doesn't look like Aaron Schotter's going to take it all the way home. Here comes James Bunker. Yep. Crosses the line and takes the win. Kyle Ridley finishes with second, Aaron Schotter third, Danny P in fourth. Then James Lawrence, Dean Jacobson, Reece Wakefield recovering to seventh. A huge drive. Then Lee Lewis and Nathan Bowman with Jeremy Washington crossing the line in P10. So Wakefield managing to get another position past Kildoulis. That's going to help him in the championship, but not as much as it could have been. Side-by-side line there, Aidan Williams missing out on 14th by 0.06 of a second. So close in the end. A big moment for Brad Cooper. That's going to cost him a spot.
I'm just going to wonder if that'll come back and bite in a couple of rounds. If worst case scenario, something happens there, Jeremy Washington, something happens to Reece Wakefield, and all of a sudden Danny P could win a championship and he loses out by 2 points or 1 point. I'm going to look back at that one later on for the teammate game.
Yeah, it's a question, isn't it? James Bunker, though, takes the win here tonight in race number 2. He'll be stoked with that, I'm sure. Spent so long looking at the back end of the other McLaren ahead of him in Kyle Ridley. Ridley, in the end, of course, very, very lucky. And look, honestly, fought well for it and certainly earned it. But he could have ended up much worse after dropping that position to Bunker and Schotter. He's managed to claw his way back up into P2. And that will be a very comforting result for Mr. Ridley from SLM Motorsport, I'm sure. But the night tonight belongs to James Bunker as he makes his way back to the pits. The gaggle of cars behind him, just giving him his moment at this stage. We're just waiting on the last of the cars to cross the line before we'll have the official results here, and then we can start to take a look at what this might mean for the championship overall. But barring any late penalties or otherwise, James Bunker, a very, very solid drive tonight, Pickles.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just wondering, just looking through, see if if that's his first race win of the season. That'd be fantastic if it is.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen him take a win so far this season. No, he's not taken
a win this season. No,
might have had a podium here or there.
5 race starts, never had a top 5 finish.
Well, he'll be absolutely stoked with that then. This is one of the late cars making their way back through. Let's go and take a look at the points this evening as Bunker makes his way back to the pits. And your race results for race number 2 look a little like this. James Bunker with the win picks up the full 100 points, followed by Kyle Ridley and Aaron Schotter from Antic Motorsports. Danny P in 4th. We'll be very happy to close the gap a little further to the top end of the championship table. James Lawrence also from Antic in 5th, so a good run of points there for Antic Motorsports. Dean Jacobson, despite all the issues we saw from him earlier on, finishing in 6th, so he'll be happy with that one. Reece Wakefield in 7th, a huge recovery drive to get back to that position after the lap 1 incident that saw him into the pits with some damage. Lee Kildoulis and Nathan Bowman behind him, then Jeremy Washington finishing in 10th, means that there's only another 6 points changing hands here tonight in the championship standings. Josh Harris in 11th ahead of Ryan Palmer, the two ADHD entries, finishing within just a few tenths of each other at the end of the day. Dan Mirko in 13th ahead of Patrick Frame, with Dylan Thomas and Charlie Milliken finishing in 15th, 16th, then Brad Cooper and Josh Benno rounding out your 18th. So Benno, unfortunately, just not picking up the points that he would have hoped for, I'm sure. And we are joined in the booth now by none other than Kyle Ridley. Kyle, mate, a huge race for you tonight. Congratulations on the result, but I suspect you might be a little bit miffed at what could have been this evening, hey?
Not too miffed. I mean, I did get forced off there, which was a little unfortunate, but I did call it in. I would prefer, obviously, to be whatever position I am on track to determine it, rather than FIA BS. But nah, a podium and a P4, I can't complain, honestly. I've been up since midnight yesterday, so I'm just here. Tiredness is
hanging in there.
I'm hanging it in there. It was when I was by myself, especially in race 1, I could see I just disappeared, but in race 2, having everyone around me, it kept me going, kept me awake. But P2, I'm happy, and I can't complain.
As you should have made some solid points there for this evening, and a phenomenal drive just to hang out in front for so long there. We will let you go and recover and celebrate, but well done tonight on your efforts in race number 2, my friend.
Thank you.
Kyle Ridley there taking P2, and we go now to Aaron Schotter. Aaron, are you with us?
Yes.
Mate, a very eventful last couple of laps there. How are you feeling?
Yeah, it was really good. Good racing. It was just a little bit slow, so I was fighting with the arm behind my back, is what it felt like. But it was good. It was
finding
a good battle.
finding the Sadies slow around Spa generally, or just the pace overall tonight?
All season it just hasn't really been. It's just been a bit off the pace everywhere. Yeah, I had that disconnect on round 1, which cost me a win. So I was trying to get as good a position as I possibly can, because it's hard in this car.
Yeah, look, it's I can't think of too many other people on the grid actually running the Mercedes. I think we've got Trev Mortimer, and that's about it. So, mate, you're certainly putting it out there and trying something different. And the results tonight look a tight one. It could have been a P2, it could have been a P1, a P3 though nothing to sneeze at, mate. A huge effort and a massive battle for those last couple of laps. Thoroughly enjoyed watching it, so thank you so much for putting it on, and congratulations on getting on the podium here tonight.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, it was good. It was a really good battle.
And last question before I do let you go. I know that the team orders don't often come into it. Was Danny P in your ear on that last lap going, oh, come on, give me those extra couple of points?
No, he was actually way too nice. He said to me, don't worry about me, just focus on the car in front.
There you go. Well, mate, you've done bloody well this evening. A phenomenal drive, and a pleasure to watch that battle unfold for us here on the coverage. We'll let you get back to it, but congrats on some excellent points and a podium to finish off the night here at Spa.
Cheers, thank you.
We go now, of course, to our winner this evening, James Bunker. And James, that was a drive to remember. We watched you just put the pressure on Kyle for lap after lap after lap there, and in the end made it stick, and coming home 2.2 seconds ahead, I don't think really reflects just how difficult that drive must have been for you.
Oh, mate, I don't know what to say. I mean, Kyle made that McLaren as wide as you could imagine. It was the widest car I'd ever seen, and had Aaron breathing down my neck for what felt like the eternity of the restart. So I just wanted to, I mean, all I could do was focus on getting the right exit, and hopefully someone made a mistake. It didn't eventuate, and we banged doors a couple of times, but geez, that was fun.
It was a lot of fun to watch. I'll be honest, it's one of the closest battles I think that we've had up the front end of the field in a little while, and certainly not for perhaps the front of the championship standings, but I'll tell you what, the battle from our perspective looked like it was an absolute cracker. You talk about Ridley making that car as wide as possible. How on earth did you find your way past in the end? Like, what did it take to actually try and push through there?
Geez, I mean, I tried, you would have seen, I tried at the bus stop. I think I tried into Blanchimont once or twice. I tried at the end of the Camel Straight. I knew that if I was within 0.3 of a second coming out of the source, then I would have a reasonable chance. And I guess I just tried to send it around the outside after lap of going, trying to go at the inside at the end of the Camel Straight. So, but I mean, as I said, he defended like crazy. So when I managed to get around on the outside, I was surprised because I'd tried that move a couple of times and he'd stopped me before that. So I was just glad to get it done.
Persistence pays off in the end, hey?
Yeah, I reckon so. But
Well, mate,
that was fun.
a massive drive, and certainly just carried on. Had there been another safety car, you might have had a breather, but as it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was something like 14 odd laps of just all-out racing between yourself and Ridley, in the end coming away with it. So a nice little stack of points for you in the championship standings, and of course, most importantly, a race win beside your name for the first time this season. So congratulations, mate. Bloody well earned. And
Thanks, mate.
an absolute
Appreciate it.
pleasure to have watched it here in race 2.
Thank you very much, mate. Great work tonight as well.
Oh, mate, you make it easy. When you put it on races like that, I just have to sit here and keep the camera pointed in the right direction.
Yeah, well, wouldn't have had a race as good as that without Kyle and Aaron, that's for sure. So just credit to everyone, and credit to you blokes as well, and credit to everyone that runs the league. It's a lot of fun.
I'm
So I
glad you're
appreciate
enjoying it. And we'll always spot you in there with the Vegemite livery, of course. Makes it very, very easy to know exactly where you are at any given time.
Oh yeah, exactly right.
James, congrats again on the win tonight. We'll let you go and rehydrate and just stretch the legs out a bit, hey?
Thanks a lot, mate. You have a good night.
James Bunker, your winner here in race number 2. As we take a look now at the championship standings. Now, of course, these are provisional and don't incorporate any of the fastest lap points that might make a couple points difference here and there. But the standings after tonight, round 6 here at Spa, Jeremy Washington remains on top. Reece Wakefield closes the gap ever so slightly, now 37 points separating the top 2. Daniel Poulton moves up into 3rd, Kyle Ridley into 4th, Josh Benno dropping to 5th, with Aaron Schotter in 6th, up a couple of positions. Mick Polly having an absolute shocker this evening with the engine of that Porsche destroyed. That's going to cost him a lot of points, unfortunately. And so he will drop to 7th, with Aaron Gilbert dropping down to 8th as well. Mostly unchanged after that. Of course, your top 10 rounded out by James Salhani and Dean Powell, but something to certainly keep an eye on as we have the last 2 rounds still ahead of us. And of course, next week, Daytona beckons, a 2-hour endurance race, double points for an enduro, of course, having only the one race for the evening. And so the difference between Washington and Wakefield will be what we keep our eyes on. And we watch to see just how close the final round at Magny-Cours may be. And I suspect if it doesn't finish with Washington ahead of Wakefield, then we're going to be talking about a very, very close final round. We do hope you've enjoyed the coverage here from Spa-Francorchamps. Unfortunately, Dean Hopton having to leave the booth just a little early this evening. So I will say on his behalf, it's been an absolute pleasure once again to bring you all of the action here from the Domains2U GT3 Championship presented by MC Motorsport. And of course, broadcast to you right here on the Simple Racing Broadcast channel. So do keep your eye on the channel for the last 2 rounds still ahead of us. Of course, we'd like to thank all of the sponsors here this evening. Domains2U, of course, the primary sponsor of the championship. iRap Designs, Sixpence Coffee Roasters, Maximum Effort Racing, and Everything Simulated, helping us to bring you all of the action here week in, week out. We've got 2 rounds left to go. The championship is as close as it's ever been. Do make sure you rejoin us, ready for the next round, of course. Daytona just around the corner. Same time, same channel next Monday night. Stay safe until then. It is goodbye for now.